Yeah. Shit. Yeah, we're here.
We are here.
So it is Friday night. And once again, it's time for Friday Night Lives. We are going to set the world on fire tonight with
We're going to
this
try.
stream. We're going to try. Yeah. We got a lot to talk about, though, because several things have happened over the course of the last week or so. And we're going to, any kind of questions that you guys want to send, like we'll answer those as well. But aside from that, too, there's a couple of really funny like topics to talk about. And yeah, we'll probably have some troll friends in here. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll get to them in the very near future. So I don't know where to start, but I figure like a really good place like would be what you were talking about, Matt, because like I hadn't heard a lot about this yet, but I like recently came to my attention, and you were gonna bring this up anyway. You may have brought it up in your stream too, which is all of the shit going on with Warner Brothers right now.
Oh yeah, for those who don't know, there's another film, animated film. I believe it's the guy who worked on Hotel Transylvania films, Dexter's Laboratory, a lot of other stuff. Animated film with like Idris Elba. And I don't really care about the film. It's just the fact that this is yet another film that Warner Brothers has, even though it's completed, they shelved, they scrapped, just like Batgirl, just like Coyote versus Acme. And granted, most of these films I don't care about, but it's just this interesting new phenomena. This is at least the third film in a row that they've made, they completed, and they're like, nah, that's right off. I think I made the thing of, if that James Gunn DC thing doesn't catapult them, they may start selling some assets. And it's not, I mean, look what happened to Fox. The same thing that happened to Fox, and then they got bought up by Disney. I'm saying if that James Gunn DC thing, if they're this desperate that 3 films now, and who knows how many in the future, it's like it's completed, just put it in a vault, trash it. Then why Amazon, Netflix, someone could easily buy Warner Brothers if that's the case. I mean, I don't see that as outside the possibility. I mean, 3 films now? I mean,
that's just what we know about. There could be more that have been canned and we don't even know.
Someone told me there's years ago there was like a Steve Urkel animated movie.
God, I want to see that.
That's a great use of money. Okay.
I'm like, what? Let me see that movie.
So when you say like was this like recently, like a couple years ago, like or
oh, I can't remember.
Okay,
they didn't say the date, but they mentioned like I just saw Steve Urkel animated film and went, I need to investigate this sometime further.
That would be amazing if, like, more recently, like the last 5 years, they were going to make a Steve Urkel animated film. That's sounds Warner Brothers is probably one of the worst companies ever, though. Even when it comes to like home physical media and stuff like that, and some of the shit that they release, like it's awful, man. Like
they don't give a fuck.
No. And yeah, this is just another example of that. So Justin Smith asks, "Isn't Warner Brothers for sale?" I hadn't heard that, but
that's a good question. It could be.
Not yet.
Well, yeah,
probably in the very near future.
Right.
He also says Warner Brothers is the worst company. Yeah. Punisher Batman says he keeps hearing that Warner Brothers is on the verge of going under.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense with how desperate they have to be to have that much of tax write-offs. At least, like you mentioned, Mark, 3 that we know of. Could be others that are under the radar. I mean, there have been films in the past, but can you remember the last time a company was that desperate to literally dump that many films into oblivion in such a short amount of time?
Not really, no. But I mean, well, I mentioned this earlier about just the stuff that's public knowledge. Like, is it possible that a lot of these other studios are doing the same and we just don't know? I mean, obviously, the more, I wouldn't call those movies high profile, but more high profile stuff would make news, like something like Bad Girl, for example. Like, that's obviously a bigger thing, costs a lot of money, but I don't even know how that works, though. Like, I mean, I guess you could just write it off for taxes, but I don't know. That's a little bit of outside of my realm of knowledge for how studios like have their budget, like the allotted money that they have to spend for certain films and any sort of production. I would think that like, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say there was one. I'm trying to think of what it was. It was really what the fuck was the big one that they did that way about a year or two ago? That they were like hopping it up, and then they just completely shelved it and didn't.
Batgirl.
Was it Batgirl?
That was the
Yeah,
big one. I
That was the
think,
big
yeah.
one. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, I was like you, Mark. I was trying to figure out like how do they do that? Like what? So if they get up to a certain amount, there has to be some way that they get a tax write off that's worth more to them than even trying to put the movie out.
Yeah.
And I don't know like what that would be.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, the Urkel movie did escape. It's Urkel Saves Santa from 2023. So it did escape. So
There's no way that's real. That's
look it
real.
up. Urkel Saves Santa 2023. Type it up.
That's your next review, Matt. Somebody
Somebody right now.
request.
It's like,
Urkel Saves Santa 2023.
oh my God. How does that exist? In 2023, how the fuck does an Urkel animated film exist? Who is that for? Because you would think the people that would even know who Urkel is would be in their 40s almost. Like, and you're
All
gonna put
the,
an
the
animated.
Jaleel White super fans.
Fans of Fuller House, maybe?
Yeah.
Right.
Or that Fresh Prince of Bel Air, the serious version.
Oh man, I forgot that happened.
I sadly did. I saw the episode, the first one. It was like the down and dirty, gritty version of Fresh Prince of Bel Air, where Carlton is like a druddy.
That's what we need. We need that. We need Carlton on drugs. Horrid Film says Warner Brothers doesn't and never had a clue about DC characters. They destroyed the DC brand and characters.
That's very true. They never knew what they had. I mean, they took a chance on the Superman stuff. Same with the Batman movie later. It wasn't until they saw those profits where they're like, "Oh, we got something here. This is a good cash machine. We got a franchise thing going here." And ever since, like, movies have been hit or miss, but now you got the whole universe stuff happening. Almost seems like every 10 years. So the Snyderverse failed. I don't have any faith in Gunn's thing. I've seen the set photos. The costumes look ridiculous. It's just like with Gunn, everything's a goddamn joke to that guy. Like, he doesn't do anything serious, at least when it comes to comic book stuff. So,
I mean, that was always kind of his gimmick. He was always like the trauma guy that kind of did, the sarcastic kind of humor and everything. That was his thing.
So wait, you think he'll do that for Superman? Because I know nothing about what he's doing.
It looks very cosplay-ish. All the costumes are very everything's super bright, and it just looks not like what I want at all. Like,
because Zack Snyder did the down and dirty, gritty, dark.
Yeah, he did the dark versions. It's just the stuff that I've seen so far isn't really appealing to me, but it could be completely different once it comes out. I mean, who knows what work they do with CGI, stuff like that, and how the final cut of the movie goes. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I want everything to be good. I don't want anything to turn out bad.
Well, better than Zack Snyder. He's the type of guy that he did those Rebel Moon films. He did director's cut that has alien hentai sex in it.
That's a whole like sub-market right there.
Yeah, it is.
It'd be good in China, maybe.
Yeah.
So you think though, because like Deadpool and Guardians of the Galaxy and all that has gotten so popular, that everything is kind of shifting to that kind of style where it's like slapstick-esque kind of comedy and shit and like dark humor. Yeah.
Deadpool's a little bit of a different beast because that's hard R stuff. It's like the third one I saw, that one, it was very fun. The dialogue was pretty crass as usual, which was good. And yeah, those are violent, gritty movies, the Deadpool movies. So those kind of sit in a class of their own. But as far as like the comedic stuff with Gunn, yeah, it's like you said, that's kind of his style. So I think so.
That's absolutely the truth. That's why Marvel has copied Guardians of the Galaxy every step of the way. They made Thor, whether you cared about him or not, with the third one, more goofy, more silly. The fourth one, even more goofy and silly. Same with Doctor Strange 2 with Sam Raimi, more goofy and silly.
Hmm.
All those films, just like the same comedy, the same jokes, the same. Look at the trailers. They all have like an 80s song remixed
Mm-hmm.
in some way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is it me? There was a period there where it was like everything, like, reimagine the time period where The Dark Knight Rises came out, and like everything was super dark and gritty, and like every superhero movie was kind of like that. And then, you know, all of the other stuff started to kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and all that stuff started to take off. And I feel like that they've just completely abandoned making like serious superhero films now. I don't fucking like I don't even really like Guardians of the Galaxy or any of that stuff, if I'm being honest. Like I just
Mhm.
don't give a shit. But
Mm-hmm.
if you had a gun to my head and you're like, you have to watch a superhero film, I would prefer to watch the Marvel stuff to the DC stuff, if I'm being honest. Cause like the DC stuff is just boring as shit to me. The later stuff. I'm not talking about like the Nolan films or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. I'm talking about the stuff post that. Like I can't get into any of that stuff.
Even
But
I would don't say even Joker.
well, to me that's like an extension of that almost
Yeah,
in
so
a
yeah.
way. But yeah. I mean, I like Joker well enough, but like yeah, I suppose it's better than the majority of the other stuff like fucking, Suicide Squad or something like that.
Well, you can see the sequel musical, Lady Gaga, coming out.
Yeah. I'm real curious about how they're going to pull that off, but maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks good, but only time will tell once it drops. We'll see. I think it'll do better than Borderlands is doing right now. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah, poor Eli.
That
Yeah.
that was the thing that I wanted to talk about too. I was talking to Rambo about it earlier because I don't pay attention to critics or anything just because normally like they don't align with what I like. But man, this movie is getting slammed like by everybody, not just critics, but by fucking people going to see it. Like, so critics hate it, audience hate it. Like, I don't think I've seen anybody say anything good about it. Period. Um,
Mhm.
None.
and it's kind of funny because I mean, it had three different directors, from what I can understand. Like, it went through three different directors, and
3.
yeah, eventually, like, got to. I don't remember if Eli Roth started with it, abandoned it, somebody else picked it up, and then he came back to it, or there was
Well,
something.
Eli started it,
Mhm.
and then it was an R-rated film. They had test screenings. It was very, very poor. He went and did Thanksgiving, and Tim Miller, who did the first Deadpool, he also did Terminator Dark Fate. He did the reshoots and made it more of like, I guess, a PG-13 Guardians
Mhm.
of the Galaxy feel. And like you said, I haven't seen a single person liked it. It has a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. And
Yeah.
everybody hates it costs $100 million and it's
Mhm.
going to be a massive flop. And I like, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, having Tim Miller come in, I mean, I've heard well, I mean, what he did with Dark Fate, I mean, he pretty much pissed in the face of every Terminator fan alive. So, I mean, I have no sympathy for where his career is going after Deadpool. I mean, to think all the potential that he did have once that movie came out, he was like hot product. And then as soon as he did Dark Fate, everybody's like, well, fuck that guy. And then they get him to come in and try to fix Borderlands, which, man, like, I don't, or I guess I wouldn't say fix, but reshoot some stuff. And then I heard that, like, after like he had shot his stuff, the studio did their own cut of it, and that's the cut that we have now. So that kind of would explain why they wanted to turn it into a Guardians-esque type of movie, and it just doesn't work on any level because you have these, I guess, 3 different versions of the movie, and the final cut's just terrible.
that never works. Like I've never known that to work when like multiple different people come in and try to recut a film like that, and like it ends up being delayed for that long. You know it's going to fucking suck. It doesn't matter like who's attached to it. I'm really surprised Eli Roth. You know, I mean, he kind of had like he had a hit finally, and in a movie that was universally liked by the majority of critics and the majority of like fans and audience people. And we even liked it, and we fucking hate that guy. Like, I'm just amazed. Number one, I'm amazed that a studio would let him do that movie just on his track record. Number two, I'm amazed that like after he saw what a fucking mess it was, that he would be attached to it right after like he made Thanksgiving, which was pretty well received.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just a giant shitstorm. I guess he wanted to be attached to a big movie no matter what. And they wanted him after Thanksgiving because he had some recognition.
Well, actually, he started filming it before Thanksgiving was made. So he was filming it, and it was like 2021.
Yeah.
It was like done. And
that's
then
right. Yeah.
when he left, then he made Thanksgiving. So he must have been like, this film's going to bomb. I got to go make a hit film because I know this is going to be a massive flop. I need one hit.
Yeah.
And then did he come back, or did he just like, did they just decide to release it like after Thanksgiving, or after like he kind of got popular again?
It was, I think that's like the point where they brought in Tim Miller, and then I'm not sure if they tested his version of it, but either way, the studio had like the final cut of it, and now it's just a big mess.
I can't wait to see it though. I'll watch it just because like, I'm just really curious. Like anytime he does anything like that, I'm curious to see what it's like.
Ironically, when I talked to Eli this past weekend, the majority of our conversation was about studios and how they don't want to produce specific types of horror movies that are in certain subgenres. They want what's hot, and it's it's like pulling teeth to like try to get them do anything unique or fresh or original. So the age-old studio problems with original horror stuff still exists.
Yeah, he was talking about that 20 years ago. There's like a clip of him talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got a couple of super chats. Let's get to real quick. Bobby says, "Hey guys, I heard Uncle Bill and Applejack is getting together in a movie and a wedding, trying to cash in with Fabio and his OG run with him married to Barbie and live in a pony world." And Matt as Bench character from the Trolls movie. Branch. I know that for some reason because I have children. The Branch character from the Trolls movie. Yes.
I'll take that as a compliment. I don't know Trolls, but
yes. And Applejack is My Little Pony. Don't ask how I know that shit either.
I've had I have had one guy today tell me I'm a black guy with white skin. So me and Mark are brothers, I guess. Speaking of Thanksgiving, we'll see Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
I've had one guy tell me. I take that as a compliment, especially down there. Especially down there, if it works.
What was the context of this conversation, by the way, that he decided that was?
I was racist because I don't want to vote for Karma Kamala, the Ugandan giant, whatever her name is. And I'm like, I don't like any politics. I think they all suck. Just any politics. And then
I definitely agree with that too.
So, but hey, I think it's pretty damn funny. Yeah, I take that as a compliment. Right, Mark? Right, Mark?
Sure.
I can't believe that somebody actually. You have the best trolls, man. I gotta say, like you have the
fight the power.
There,
fight the power. Malcolm X.
Bobby's got another super chat though. He says, "Uncle Bill and Applejack live in the Beverly Hills." Okay. Oh God.
You probably
And
couldn't make
then-
that show today, right? Beverly Hillbillies.
No,
You
you
probably-
couldn't. Actually, you probably could. I think that like Southerners are the only people that left that you can still make fun of, like legally, legally under the
Okay.
the current state of society. Yeah. So there's a ton of comments here. I don't even know where to begin. I guess we can start with this. Have you played? If any of you all, because I haven't played the Borderland game.
No.
So briefly that I wouldn't even count it as playing it, because that was whenever that first one came out, I played like a demo version of it or something like that. And I don't even remember what the hell I did in the game. So I'm definitely not an expert on Borderlands.
No, I've never. I mean, I never even played the game, and to be honest, I'm not even familiar with the characters. I know there's a big uprising about that they fucked up all the characters in the movie too,
Mhm.
in terms of casting and things like that. But I don't have enough knowledge to even know what exactly that's about.
Well, when you want a big badass Idris Elba type, you always get Kevin Hart.
That's the most complaint that I've seen. Everybody's
Yep.
bitching about Kevin Hart.
Because he kind of sucks. Like Kevin Hart, kind of
Kevin Hart does suck. I'm not gonna lie. He's another one too. Like him and The Rock. Like you could. I don't know one single movie of theirs that I fucking like. Either one of them guys. Like they've made a million fucking movies. I couldn't tell you one of them where I could like sit down and like watch it, like right now, and get any kind of enjoyment out of it. They're just certain guys that they make all these movies, and none of them have any, to me, any kind of redeeming qualities. And Kevin Hart is definitely one of those guys. Every movie he's done is like with Will Ferrell or fucking Jack Black, or it's just the most
What
pointless
about
shit.
Soul Plane with Tom Arnold? And
Yeah, that's it. You know, my favorite movie of his would probably be Scary Movie 3. That's probably my favorite movie that like Kevin Hart is in.
oh yeah, I forgot he was in that.
Let's see. Switching directors worked for Spookies. It actually didn't, but I mean, we like it. Like, I mean, it's a goofy ass movie just because like it's so crazy. I guess that might be one example where it worked despite itself. Too bad the original version or original idea of Thanksgiving was never. I always thought, yeah, like there's a couple of things he pussied out about in Thanksgiving that he could have done that were in that trailer, and just didn't. And that's kind of sad because he probably wanted to do them.
Yeah. The thing with that though is like that trailer was meant to be just the trailer. So I mean, of course, you're gonna put what is it like? I don't know how many kills, 10, 15 kills. I mean, they all happen like one after another. So of course it looks like the best thing ever. Because it's meant to sell you on the movie. Even if he had made the movie the exact same way, I still don't think it would have been as good as the trailer. I mean,
I just wish that he would have done something like he had the trampoline scene in there, but he didn't do the knife gimmick.
Mhm.
That's the whole point of that scene to me. I mean, he totally could have done that. And like, there's a couple of things like that too that were in the trailer where
it makes me think like, is there like an alternate cut of that scene? I know that new 4K got announced. Is there any like deleted scenes or extras, like stuff on there? Is there an uncut version? Maybe it's in there. He just didn't have it in theatrical.
That's true. I'm not sure. I didn't look at the specs of the 4K or anything, or the Blu-ray. I'm not sure which one.
I doubt it. He probably didn't do it because he thought it would be some reason sexist. Don't ask me why it would be, but that's how a lot of people think nowadays. I mean, when was Grindhouse? 2007?
Yeah. Or was it 2006? One of the two.
Yeah. A lot of things have changed since then.
This fucking comment. Sometimes comments just like catch me off guard. If Beverly Hillbillies was made today, the grandpa would be a foreign, non-binary grandma.
He's right.
Yeah. Let's see. The Rundown. Pretty much whenever I mention The Rock and hating The Rock, everybody brings up The Rundown. And I saw that movie, but like it didn't blow my skirt up or anything. I mean, it was probably his best film that I saw, but I probably would never watch it again either. It's a question for the ages. What's your favorite role from Vin Diesel?
I like Pitch Black. I actually thought he was really good in Find Me Guilty. That's actually, I think, a pretty good dramatic comedic role. But he actually had a director. I'm bad with names. But he had a director worth a spit too. So I think Find Me Guilty is actually a really good one. Because it wasn't Vin Diesel, it was him playing a character. Sidney Lumet, he directed it. Who did 12 Angry Men, Network, all those stuff. So that's a pretty good one. Find Me Guilty.
I would say Groot. That's my favorite role Vin Diesel ever done.
I always liked The Man Apart. Got, what's it, Jeff Korber in there from God, what's the name of the movie? I'm blanking on it right now. Help
First
me out,
Power?
man. Yes, First Power. Lorenz Tate as well. Thought the cast gelled really well in that one. It's more of a serious, dramatic crime type movie. And I like the style of it just from F. Gary Grace, like directing and everything. So yeah, that one always stands out. I do like the Riddick role though in Pitch Black. That's fun. I used to like the Toretto character from Fast and Furious, but these days, like all those later sequels, I'm good on those.
You like Tokyo Drift?
I actually do like Tokyo Drift. I'm probably one of the few people that do like that one.
I remember that movie came out. I was like, what the fuck's happening? It was like my first indication that something had gone wrong with the Fast and Furious franchise. Jay Forever says Thanksgiving's the only movie I liked. Death Wish was all right. Anybody picking up the Thanksgiving 4K Steelbook?
Yeah, I'll probably get it.
Remember both those shitty Machete movies? I'm surprised Shout Factory hasn't announced collector's edition. That would be perfect for them, honestly. Yeah.
There is actually a huge set for Machete. And no, I don't have it for somebody that's going to mention that. But it's like this really huge box that's got all kinds of crazy shit in there. But, yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done that.
I mean, you got to admit, that's kind of like exactly what they're releasing right now. Are those types of movies from that time period, like in 4K. Tom Atkins is in here. It's awesome to see you, sir. Says maybe it's really me, maybe it's not. Who's to say? Could be. It's probably Pitch Black in that movie where he had hair. It's the best description of. Let's see. Blue Addict says, I like the first 7 Fast and Furious movies. Jesus. Okay. Triple X. I forgot about that fucking movie.
I like the first Triple X too.
Yeah. Asia Argento. Like, that was her really only big mainstream blockbuster kind of film, wasn't it? That she was in. That's such an odd thing that she was in that movie to me. Oh, I forgot he was even in this.
Yeah.
That's one I often forget about as well. Yeah.
He doesn't even look like Vin Diesel in that movie. That's what's weird about it. Like, I mean, it just doesn't look like the same guy.
That was part of the direction. Don't look like Vin Diesel.
Don't look like, yeah. We want this movie to be good.
If you want to see something kind of funny for those out there for Vin Diesel on YouTube, there's an old, like,
the breakdancing video?
No, where he's selling the characters of Street Sharks.
I've seen that too.
Oh my God.
I guess he was hired to be like a convention and try to sell people like, I'm the tough guy. This is how good street sharks are with a street like me. And trying to sell street sharks toys.
I did. That's killer. I'd never known that. I had not heard about this. Have you all heard about this? Says Joaquin Phoenix just walked off set 5 days before filming the new Todd Hayes film, causing the film to shut down and everyone losing their jobs and costing millions of dollars in damages.
Nah.
Didn't hear about that.
Wonder what the film was.
Shit, I'll have to look it up. Somebody, well, I won't look it up. Just somebody tell me what the film was. Somebody else look it up before my computer crashes. Yeah, I had not heard anything about that though.
So he walked off and never came back. Not like, okay, he had a Christian Bale, Terminator Salvation, hissy fit. Is that he literally just left the film, and you can't get sued for that?
Pretty sure you can.
Yeah, contractually you have to do the movie. So, I mean, unless something violated the terms of the contract on set, I guess he was okay to walk off. I don't know.
We'll find out here in a sec what that was. Have you seen the movie 68 Kill? Nope, I have not.
Mm-hmm.
It was about two detectives who loved each other in the lovely way. NC-17, no title. He helped write the script.
Oh, okay. So he didn't want to be in the film about the two loving detectives in an NC-17 film.
Maybe he didn't like his size. I don't know.
Joaquin lost his smile. Yeah.
Yeah.
God. Let's see. Yeah, I know. I mean, Asia Argento was in Land of the Dead. I don't think that was a big hit. If I'm being honest. Yeah.
Yeah. Have your thoughts on Land of the Dead changed, or are they the same when you first saw it?
I got 2 words for you. John Leguizamo. Fuck that movie. Jesus Christ. He's like the main heel guy in that movie, really, aside from Dennis Hopper. And he's got way too much screen time running around, like mugging it up. No, I mean, honestly, he's not the biggest part of the problem for me with that film. The biggest part of the problem for me is the CGI in that film and how fucking awful it is. It's just in that time period where it just looks ridiculous and they use it way too much. And it's just really, really bad.
I don't mind it as much. I used to hate it a little bit more probably than Uncle Bill back in the day. I was such a purist of practical effects and stuff like that. I've always said I appreciate it way more now. I don't mind it. Like if you've seen Survival or Diary, then you know.
Yeah, I mean it's like Shawshank Redemption compared to those 2 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd almost rather watch just about anything except maybe Deja Vu again. I Spit on Your Grave, Deja Vu. That might be the only movie I would less like to watch than Survival of the Dead. Here's an interesting question. There's a lot of Resident Evil movies. You guys want ones? What ones would you guys say are any good?
Really, none.
I fucking hate those movies, but
the only one that I would say is passable is Apocalypse, because if you're a big fan of Resident Evil 3 like myself, that's the one that's probably the closest to the game. If you were to take Alice out, Mila Jovovich's character, I thought they did a good job with Nemesis. Oded Fair's character is obviously front and center in there, as well as Joe Valentine. So I mean, like, you got stuff there that's very close to the game. They nuked the city like at the end of the game. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff that's very, very close to the game. So I'll give it that. But other than that, like the rest of the movies, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend any of them if you're a Resident Evil fan.
Let me ask you, like, I don't know this, but I'm just guessing. Were those movies put out by Lionsgate?
Was it Screen Gems?
That's what I think it was. I think it was Screen Gems.
I think that's the reason why I hate them is the look of them. They all look like a Lionsgate movie from like that time period where everything is kind of like just generic and washed out and very like it. All those movies just had a certain look to them, and it takes me back to that period whenever I see those Resident Evil movies, and I don't know, I just can't stand that kind of cinematography. It's Vin Diesel, his Christian born name. Let's see. Thanksgiving eats dick. All right. Brokeback Mountain. Just trying to skip over some of these comments real quick. God damn it. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Vanderhoff.
He's trolling.
There ain't no fucking way you believe that.
He's trolling for sure.
I'm not saying that. I remember my last time with Vanderhoff. We got 10,000.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, this is another one that's coming out. So I think it's coming out next week, isn't it? Or sometime in the next couple of weeks. Alien Romulus.
Yeah, about the 16th, I want to say.
Yeah. So next, what is that? Next Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just looks like the same movie. I mean, all seriousness, no joking aside. People on a ship killed by one by aliens, and wannabe Ripley, a rip-offly. So what? I mean, what is there to be excited about when this is stuff you've seen multiple times already? Cool, it'll have practical effects. So, I mean, I could watch the first two, and Alien 3 had practical effects, and that was still a film I hate. That we all hated, really. If people look forward, that's fine. I don't see what the appeal is just based on everything about that movie specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I even saw like a video clip of it, and I guess this was done by the studio. They put out a trailer / ad for it on Instagram where it's footage from Aliens and one of the other movies, and it's like every other scene is like a mirrored scene of the new movie. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, that's not going to entice people to go see the new one if it's so many copied scenes from the other stuff. So,
well, to be fair, The Force Awakens, Jurassic World, they kind of did the same thing, and they made a lot of money.
Oh, did they really? Okay.
Well, I mean, like The Force Awakens, it was like the very ending is like the Death Star yet again. They just ripped off A New Hope. Jurassic World, here's two kids. Here's a dinosaur crashing through the car, through the ceiling, rooftop where the two kids are being attacked. And it's just...
I think
I avoided all that.
Bruno Mattei did it best, though. Copying Aliens.
Goldberg.
You know that's killer. That's like one of the best scenes ever.
Yeah, definitely. But will it be worse than Covenant and Prometheus? I don't know. That's hard to say.
Even if it's not, I mean, is that still a good thing?
Well, that's my thing. Is like, even just thinking about going and see that movie, like that's not going to get me to the theater. Like that idea, that franchise at this point, like.
Well, you got to get your popcorn bucket, Uncle Bill. Come on.
Fuck him. I'm so sick of them fucking popcorn buckets too, man. Like that was a good idea for like one or two movies, but good Lord, like that's become like every movie that comes out, there's a fucking popcorn bucket attached to it now. Like some sort of gimmick. It's just,
Is there any that you would have a popcorn bucket for, or you just hate the whole idea?
I'm over that idea. I don't know. Like it just seems so kind of like overdone. It's like Spirit of Halloween shit now. It's like, yeah, we get it. Like you got all the shit about, you're going to do this one thing like for every movie that comes out now. because it did well for a couple of movies, but you just burn it. Just that's what they do. They just run everything into the ground. Like any good idea, they just run it into the ground until nobody wants to see it anymore.
Yep.
OCP actually has a super chat. Thank you for that. What are your thoughts on the batshit insanity that is Highlander 2?
I must admit, as dumb as it is, that is my favorite Highlander film for just how insane it is.
That's my favorite one too. I don't even. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of that series or anything, but I have seen them, and that's my favorite as well.
I haven't seen that one in a long time. Is that the one where there's like more than one cut of it or something?
Renegade version and the theatrical cut. That's the one they explain either they're from the past and they go to the future, or they're aliens and they went to the planet. Either one is dumb, but I love the Blade Runner future type. I like the music. I like the song at the end, One Dream.
Well, the cast, man, you've got fucking Sean Connery, you got Michael Ironside, you got Virginia Madsen's in it. I mean, that's a hell of a cast, too.
Yeah.
And it like he said, batshit insane, too.
The thing I never understood about that franchise is by the end, there's only one left, and then the next one, there's like 50 more. But there could be only one.
There could be only one, but also
50 more pop up. Yeah. Where do they come from?
Well, see, that's the problem with there being only one is they still need to make the fucking movies, so they've got to be more of them.
The franchise calls for more than one.
Yeah.
So I was curious with the first Highlander. Like, I don't mind it. I liked it. Did you see that on video, or were you ever like you heard about it because of the Queen music? Because that's what I first heard was the Queen music first.
The first thing I ever saw Highlander was the series.
Okay.
That which would have been what, the 90s, the early mid 90s or something like that.
Yeah. So as a kid, I was big into that.
Yeah, that was my introduction to the Highlander, and then from that point, I went and like watched the movies, and I've never like I said, I've never been a huge fan of the series, but I mean, I do like part 2 quite a bit, and I'm not a fan of Christopher Lambert either. If I'm being honest, like I've just never been a fan of that. I mean, something about his style of whatever acting that is, where he looks like he's half asleep. Like I don't know. But to each his own. Let's see. That's a good question. Best song from a horror soundtrack. Wow. Jesus, man. One? Like, that's
really difficult.
I'll just real quick tell you the one that immediately popped into my mind. That to me is like attached to an iconic scene. If you're talking about a soundtrack and not a score, it would be Party Time in Return of the Living Dead. Like, because when that fucking song hits, I can immediately see that skeleton like pop up. I can see the scene like in my head. And that's just like, to me, the perfect song for that movie. So that's the one that I would pick.
That's tough. I mean, the obvious would be Dream Warriors. I mean,
that's a great one too.
You know, but I liked Alice Cooper's He's Bat, the Man Behind the Mask. I really do like that song. So maybe I would choose that one. But it's hard to pick. There's a lot of good ones. I love Party Time, Return of the Living Dead. That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, that synth line from the Alice Cooper song's worth it alone. That that's amazing.
Yeah. Darkest Side of the Night always is a great one. The Trick or Treat song, what is it? It's by Fastway.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
the name of that song?
Oh shit, man.
If you could see, or is that it?
Hold on.
Well, yeah. Well, you guys know which one I'm talking about. That one is always great. Yeah.
there's so many of them though. Like it's really hard to pick one song and be like that's the best song.
Oh, wait. For me, I gotta change mine. How could I forget? AC/DC, every song in Maximum Overdrive.
Mm.
That's true.
For me, I gotta go with that.
But like, okay, so the Mark's pick too, like that's another example of one where when I hear that song, I can immediately connect it to the beginning of part 8 and the narration and all that shit, and like you immediately like hear that in your head. And also with ACDC, when they're playing DT and like the kid's going through the he's riding his bike through the town and shit, and like everything's destroyed. Like certain songs you can just connect the song with the scene in the movie, and that's how you know like it's a great kind of
it's like every song in Shocker too. I mean, one of my favorite soundtracks.
Yeah, who made who? Yeah, where the girl gets attacked by the watermelon. You know.
Oh, I could go on and on though. There's like a million great like horror soundtracks. I mean, I even like stupid shit like Fall Break. We were talking about the Mutilator and
That's
stuff
a fun
like
one.
that. Like, I mean, that's not the best song, but it's hilarious to me that it fits in that movie.
What's one of the worst songs you've heard in a horror movie? Doesn't have to be worst, just it's hard to pick one, but like one that pops out like that was a really bad song.
100%. That's an easy one. I don't know why, but one of the worst choices in a fucking horror film ever that does not fit, makes no sense, and just absolutely like you're just kind of like jarred by the fact that it's like placed in this scene is Love Hurts in the fucking Halloween remake. I'm just like,
that's a good pick.
I'm like, what the fuck does this have? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Well, he killed his sister, so love hurts.
I mean,
love hurts with a butcher knife.
Rob Zombie is not. I don't know. He's not a good filmmaker. I'll say that. Like he's good at cinematography, but he's just not good at like scenes and drama and putting things together and stuff like that. He's just not. That's not his thing.
And I'm not trying to be the one that always puts over Devil's Rejects, but the music placement in that was killer. The ending, the free bird, and them getting shot to hell. And
I'll tell you
there's a lot of cool stuff in that one.
Another great song in that too, though, Mark, that I always thought was a really good placement is when they start playing Rocky Mountain Way when they're having the party. Like I always thought that was a great kind of song placement in there too.
Yeah.
And the way he cut all the scenes that. So every now and then, he can do something halfway competent. Not very often.
That's kind of an interesting thing. Back in the 80s, like, yeah, you would have popular songs put in the movies, but there's a lot of horror films that specifically had songs made for those movies. They don't really do that nowadays, right? I can't even think of the last horror film that a song was made for that movie. Maybe I'm forgetting something new, but like did the Ghoulies 2 Scream Until You Liked It.
Yeah.
Even the Blob remake, Brave New World by the band Alien. You mentioned Party Time and the Return of the Living Dead. Return of the Living Dead 2, I forget the name of the songs. I'm bad with titles, but
you are right though. Like I'm trying to think like when was the last time a song was specific, like not a score, but like a soundtrack was made for a horror film.
Yeah.
Or like a main title song or anything like that, where it was a band.
Yeah, like Mark mentioned Shocker and Trick or Treat. And
who would do it though nowadays? Like what bands are left like that would fucking be like considered rock bands or anything like that?
It's a good question.
Yeah, you have Coldplay or something do the fucking I don't think it has the same effect.
Get Creed back for the new Scream movie.
Well, speaking of that would be the one where that would happen, right? Did any of those Scream movies have like a song connected to them, like a soundtrack song?
Honestly, the last one I remember was Street 3.
Yeah, it's hard to place the music in the newer movies. I don't even
Yeah, I
remember.
just can't. I can't even think of the one if there was. Wesley says, "What's up, boys? Finally catching alive, even though it's 3 a.m. in Ireland. What in the
Whoa.
fuck?" Question: Have you guys watched Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell? And if so, did you like it? I think we've all seen that. Yeah,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that has the most fucked up ending to a film that I've possibly ever seen. That came out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. It was surprising. I'm glad that he was able to make that. I know he really struggled when it came to the budget and stuff. There was a lot of trials and tribulations on that, at least in terms of getting it made. But the end result is a solid little flick. I mean, it's doesn't get talked about often, but I like it a lot.
I like all of his films, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't something about his style, like of the way that he makes films. I really enjoyed all of. No, well, I won't say all of them, but he's probably made more than the 3 or 4 that I've seen. But the 3 or 4 I've seen, I've liked all of them. This is a great question. Do you think that Paul Thomas Anderson ever gets pissed off there's a hack director named Paul W.S. Anderson? Probably. He's probably like had that conversation before, I would say. Radkins, where the fuck have you been? Says
Well,
congrats on hitting 10,000 subs. I sadly missed the stream and wanted to say thank you for being genuine in the content you and CK make. I've only been a sub for 3.5 years, but love the old. Love the old. There had to be more to that. Content on Patreon and YouTube. Okay, killer.
yeah, where you
Also,
been, Ryan? Shout
yeah,
out to
where
Ryan.
the hell has he been?
Ryan's the man.
A Ripley off. TJ says.
Yeah.
I must.
No, it's a rip-offly. That's what you're talking
a rip off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is one we haven't talked about. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but opinions on Cobra Kai this season.
Haven't seen the new stuff.
I've only seen the first 3 episodes of the first season, so I'm a late bloomer.
Oh yeah, that's right. They actually forcing you to watch that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I love it whenever Matt's like, I've never seen that, and then like people force him to watch like every episode, whatever the show is. It's not a bad show though, up until maybe like the last 2 seasons, in my opinion. Yes, I do actually remember Alien Nation. If you're talking about the movie and the TV show, yeah, that's
Yeah,
a movie that
I remember the movie.
never ever gets talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that is either.
I remember the first time I saw that on VHS, my aunt was telling me the plot of it, and she had just bought it, and she wanted me to watch it. She's like, "You're gonna love it," and I watched it, and I'm like, "That's totally not the movie you described." And she was like, "Well, aren't there aliens in it with sunglasses?" And I'm like, "You're thinking about They Live." But
So
she didn't know that at the
completely different
time.
movie.
Yeah, completely different movie, but she thought she was buying They Live and she bought Alien Nation. But if she hadn't have done that, I don't know if I'd ever seen Alien Nation. So, but
It is a great film that like never gets recognized or talked about nowadays. I don't understand it, but yeah. And neither does The Hidden, which is not exactly the same, but I mean it's a great
Yes.
science fiction movie that has like a cop team in it as well.
Mhm.
And I think that movie did it get released on Blu-ray? I think it finally did. Like
Warner
Yeah, it did.
Archive.
Warner
Warner
Archive.
Archive.
Okay.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
the archive Blu-ray. It's pretty standard fare. It's nothing special like it should have gotten.
Speak to Warner Brothers.
Yep.
They
There you
can't
go.
release
Archive.
that.
There you go.
Can't release that in any edition worth of cred, but
And that was Jack Shoulder that did that movie too. Talking about The Hidden though, and he's a really underrated director actually.
yeah.
Mhm.
Got another super chat here. Sorry, but real quick, Salo popcorn bucket is some dude's ass. Antonis and Dradia says, have you guys ever had a bad experience at a movie theater before? You mean with okay, there's two different bad experiences I guess you could have. With the movie itself or with actual like people in the theater. I've had a lot of bad experiences watching movies that I hated. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've ever had a bad experience though with like people other than just your typical dumbass teenagers that fucking want to talk through everything.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a moment that was especially annoying with that, where they were just even more louder than usual, or it's a film you really, really wanted to see and they just, of course, won't shut up?
That happened on a movie that I hated, didn't want to see. So it's kind of like the reverse of what you're saying. It was the fucking Fog remake, but again, that was.
I would have loved it if somebody
fairness-
would have talked through that fucking movie. I'd have been
Yeah.
like, yeah.
It was a date movie, so I was on a date
Oh, okay.
at the time, and
She
they-
picked it?
yeah, of course I don't want to fucking see. When I saw the trailer, I'm like, what is this shit?
Are you still with her?
No,
Was that why?
no, it's not why, but that didn't help.
That
me.
movie fucked it up for him. Yeah. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
only maybe one or two movies I can think of where that people like talking kind of fucked the movie up for me. And one of them was Freddy versus Jason because that movie theater was fucking packed. Number one, there were people standing like in the fucking aisle. And I'm pretty sure they weren't supposed to be doing that, but they're like standing like up through as you walk.
Same
up, like,
in my theater, yeah.
and you couldn't hear anything because there's just so many teenagers and stuff
Mhm.
fucking just like talking and screaming and like going on. And I mean, it was a bad and a good experience, I guess. Like it was good in the fact that the energy in that place was insane, but it was bad in the fact that you really didn't know what the fuck was going on. Not that I guess it mattered with that movie, but I mean, you couldn't hear.
I just the Thing prequel, it was so damn loud. And I don't know why I saw it in the theater, but it was like so loud it was hurting my ears. So I wanted to leave and I should have left, but I didn't.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many movies that I wanted to. The Fog remake is probably the one that I was closest to walking out of, by the way.
Same.
I
Yeah.
think of any movie I've ever seen, I actually leaned over to CK and was like, should we just fucking leave? Like, this is not going to get any better. And he had that mentality. He still has it to this day that if we were watching something for the show that we had to stay for the whole fucking movie. Oh, we fucking sat through that movie just to do a review later on.
Yeah, I mean, it's that was a chore. I mean, I wasn't paying attention to it as much anyway, but I mean, they were yelling and throwing popcorn, and it was one of the worst experiences in the theater for sure. That sucked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, right.
I was just going to say, Kevin Sullivan, rest in peace. The Taskmaster passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was sick for a while. I'd heard like different things that he wasn't in good health for quite a while.
That's too bad.
But he was a hell of a booker, man, back in the day, back in that time period for WCW, especially.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about that conspiracy theory that he killed Chris Benoit?
I think it's one of the dumbest fucking things ever. People keep bringing it up. And I just, yeah. It's just people, anytime anything like that happens, people have to say some shit like that. It can't just be that he went crazy and, did that because you can't wrap your head around that.
True.
Right.
And thank you, Joe. I did see you super chat. You asked, do you guys like Stir of Echoes? Is it one of your favorites? I wouldn't say favorite, but I liked it. It's a really good movie, Stir of Echoes. I liked it more than The Sixth Sense.
Same here.
Oh, I didn't see this.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah,
Same
Stir of
year,
Echoes. Stir of Echoes is one of my favorite movies of that time period. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say that? What would be the reason that you like it more than Sixth Sense? I mean, I know my reasons, but like,
It's
what makes you pick that?
rewatchable to me.
Okay.
It's more
Mhm.
like once you know what the Sixth Sense is, like I don't ever go back and watch the Sixth Sense. There's not anything in it aside from the ending that's like memorable to me. But
Yeah.
like the whole Stir of Echoes movie is memorable. It's got scenes in it that still are fucking scary to this day.
Mhm.
Like it's a really good ghost movie. If you take away the ending and all that shit, it's still good.
Yeah, I mean the it becomes like a movie where it's not exactly an adventure film, but I mean you want to see him through his journey of what he's trying to figure out. I love how the mystery just keeps unfolding. Um, it's got some really good atmospheric scenes, like Uncle Bill was just mentioning. I love that they shot it on location in Chicago. I do know that neighborhood, and
Hmm.
I always love that. I mean, I'd be a bit biased in that way towards certain films that are shot on location in Chicago because so much of this city I've been in and out and around a million times over. So when I see that on the big screen, I'm just like, oh, this looks amazing.
So
So
you've been there where it took place? You've
that
actually been
neighborhood, I have been there. Yeah,
there? Okay.
I
When
always
was
forget
that?
about that. Probably like the early 2000s. I haven't lived in the city. Man, it's been so long. It's been over 10 years since I actually lived in Chicago.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, but it's got a lot of really nice neighborhoods despite the bad rep it gets.
And what was the name of the director that did Stir of Echoes?
Oh
David
God.
Cope? Cope?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Has he done anything lately?
I know he wrote the script for that last Kevin Bacon movie, You Should Have Left, or I think that's what it's called. You Should Have Left.
Hmm.
Um
What a name.
but
You should have left, bitch. Get out.
yeah, as far as directing, I
Hmm.
think that was the last thing. I'm not sure about what happened before that though. Can't remember.
I'm looking him up just to see real quick.
Probably got a lot of stuff because, like, I know he's done a ton of screenplays throughout the
Okay.
decades.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's done like a lot. I didn't realize he'd done this much stuff since Stir of Echoes. So directing wise, he directed Secret Window.
Oh
Um
yeah,
he
forgot about that.
directed Ghost Town, You Should Have Left, and Inferno, a movie called Inferno. He's written like fucking 20 films though. I'm not gonna go through
Hmm.
all of them, but like they include like War of the Worlds, Spider-Man,
Hmm.
Panic Room, just a bunch of stuff that everybody would know. Jack Ryan, The Mummy. He wrote Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Sorry. Not one of his better scripts, I'm gonna tell you.
Did he write that by himself? Because like he's a
Probably not.
talented writer. I don't know if that was all him.
It says no. It says co-wrote with Jez Butter. This guy's name
Okay,
is Jez Butterworth,
that's awesome.
and apparently, I swear to God, I'm not making this up. Apparently, like one of the other co-writers is either his brother or something, John Henry Butterworth. What the fuck?
That's
The
funny.
Butterworth brothers.
Yeah.
The
So-
Butterworth brothers.
Another classic from the Butterworth brothers.
It tastes like butter. I can't believe it's not Buttersworth.
That's what you should say. I can't believe it's not the Butterworths. Anyway, I can't believe that there's a guy named Jez Butterworth. If that guy exists and he writes horrible films. So there's like 1,000 songs that people put in here. I'm backing up like a mile back, but talking about like soundtrack songs. And I didn't even think about some of these at all, but these are great like suggestions. So Stigmata Martyr by Baal from the Night of the Demons.
Mhm.
His Eyes from Friday the 13th Part 5. You know, there's a man with no life.
Pseudo
anymore.
Echo, yeah.
Yep. Fright Nights Come to Me by Brad Fidel.
Yes.
The
Good one, Mike.
Ramones, Pet Cemetery. Hellraiser by Motorhead. In Hellraiser 3. Cry Little Sister from the Lost Boys. I didn't even think about the fucking Lost Boys, but that's a great one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you, Billy Boston. And then I guess this was in the worst section. Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. Man, there was a time period in the 2000s where that was like in every horror movie trailer that you could fucking think of. That song was going to be in there. Like, what an awful period for
They
soundtrack.
started using it for like wrestling shows and
Yep.
stuff too.
Yep. Okay, so onward from that though. I'm going to scroll down some because if not, we're not going to know what the fuck's going on.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
Oh,
Not just horror, too. It was in action films. It was in the Rambo 4 trailer.
God. Well, that makes sense, really, with that movie. I remember CK and I saw that at the theater, and we couldn't fucking believe the ending of that movie. I thought it was like one of the best things ever.
That's fantastic. Great theater experience.
What's the best and worst movie of the year so far? Well, I know what my best movie is so far. I mean, there's a lot of candidates for worst movie. But what would you guys say?
And that's just any genre, anything.
Yeah.
Well, worst for me is Sasquatch Sunset.
Jesus Christ, I can't believe you had to watch that. Was that my choice or was that a request?
That was a request. Trust me,
Okay.
it was not my choice.
Jesus.
It's 90 minutes of just people in Bigfoot costumes, no dialogue, and they see a road, they freak out, they take a dump on it, or they piss on it, or they milk themselves on it. And like 90 minutes of the movie. Part nature dot, part Bigfoot, whatever the hell, man. That's the worst film I've seen. That and the American Society of Magical Negroes. That film. Which is the title of the movie, folks.
Listen, let's be honest. You just wanted to say that title.
He did.
No fucking
He
like,
totally did.
yeah.
But that's the honest answer. That's the second worst film I've seen. And I didn't mark. I know you've seen the trailer. You know
Yes,
that
I have.
you know how bad that looks. Now you know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I'm never watching it.
Hey, I can watch it. Remember, I'm a black guy with white skin.
No, that's
I
right.
can
true.
say it. So that's
What
on
would
my
you say?
tombstone.
What would you say, Mark?
It's for worst. Maybe Night Swim.
Fuck, I forgot that. I forgot I even watched that movie. That's how bad that is.
I'm sure there's something else. I wish I had like a list in front of me.
I can read you off like some. Hold
Okay,
on.
yeah, I might be forgetting something.
Okay, so here's the movies that have come out like in so far in 2024. Now I'm not going to give the whole list, but like the ones that are probably like we've probably seen. Jesus, that's a long ass list. Night Swim. That's one. I swear to God, it's the first one on here. The Beekeeper. The Wanted Man. What the fuck is that? That's Dolph Lundgren. Okay. Founders Day. I haven't even heard of a lot of these. Lisa Frankenstein. Madam Web. Forgot that movie came out. Shit.
Yeah.
Lights Out. Some bitch. Dune Part 2. Kung Fu Panda 4. We all love that one. Love Lies Bleeding. The American Society of Magical Negroes is on here.
Yeah.
I can't believe that exists. Roadhouse. I forgot about that.
Oh man.
Jesus. That might be it. That might possibly be it. Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire, Late Night with the Devil, Godzilla, Kong, The New Empire, The First Omen, Civil War, Sasquatch Sunset, Abigail, Boy Kills World. What the fuck is that?
The Skarsgård movie.
Uh,
I forgot about this one. Edward 5150 put this in the chat. Festival of the Living Dead.
oh shit, I did too. That's the Soska sisters one, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I didn't even
Forgot
get
that
through
happened.
that. I didn't get through that whole movie. I just turned it off like within like 10, 15 minutes. So
That might be at the top for worst.
yeah, I mean, I don't even really know if I consider that a fucking movie. I mean, technically, I guess it is, but it's like a Tubi original.
Right.
It's not. My favorite though so far this year, mine would be Long Legs. That would be my best. And I know that movie's not for everybody, but it was for me. So that's
Mhm.
all I can say.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
like a ton of them that could fall into the worst category, including that one.
Yeah, so far, there's actually been an equal amount of movies that I've really enjoyed this year and some equally hated. But of course, the stuff that I liked is always going to stick out. Like you mentioned, Long Legs. Um, I liked Maxine, Deadpool, Wolverine. That was fun. Beekeeper was fun. Um, the Fall Guy was surprisingly really fun. Doesn't get talked about enough.
Hmm.
Yeah. Some good movies this year. A lot of bad, though, too.
Let's see. Wes says, I thought y'all were renaming this show Friday Fuckery. Not yet. It's possible, though.
I don't know if YouTube will let us keep that title up.
What is Mark's favorite part of Deadpool 3?
See, if I say the part, then it's gonna spoil it. So
Well,
does
too late for
anybody?
me. Mark
I,
already-
I spoiled it for Matt, and I didn't mean to because it was all over Instagram and YouTube.
I went on Discord and I did a message from Mark. I'm like, okay, what's this? And then he's like, I saw this movie, and they just spoiled the whole damn part. And it's like, you knew about it though, right? I'm like, no, I did, but that's okay.
You do now, motherfucker. That's what he said next.
So-
I mean, at the same time, it was going to get spoiled eventually. Those type of films
Yeah.
always get spoiled. That's the way the internet is nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, does anybody in the chat care? I'll say it real quick if anybody cares. If they don't.
I don't give a
Yeah.
shit. I mean, I'll see that movie at some point, but I'm not concerned with it.
Mhm.
If anybody in the chat does, then plug your ears at this point.
Yeah. I'll put my thumb up when the I've said.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So thumb up, spoiler. It's coming up. Plug your ears. The return of Wesley Snipes' Blade. So that was my favorite moment, obviously. Seeing him come back,
That's bizarre.
it
That
was
is
epic.
fucking bizarre that like he's back to that character.
And he moved perfectly. Didn't look like he missed a beat in the fight scenes. It was like he walked right off the set of the last one and still doing it just as good. I mean, he needs his own movie. Well, send-off movie. I saw Ryan Reynolds talking about that he should get his own send-off movie like they did for Hugh Jackman with Logan.
Yep.
I agree. He should.
That's hilarious because I know Wesley hated Ryan Reynolds, but now that he got this, he's like, yay! I love him.
You know what else you hated? Taxes.
He did not hate weed.
No, he loved weed.
Yeah.
Hates taxes. I agree with this too. I actually really like the Beekeeper.
Yes.
So did I.
Really fun.
Let's see here.
As much as, I mean, I gotta admit, my favorite so far, because I have not seen Lawn Lades, I didn't see Deadpool, I didn't see Fall Guy. I like Beverly Hills Cop 4. I thought it'd be the worst movie. I actually enjoyed it. It wasn't perfect, but you know what? Eddie Murphy was funny, and that's kind of really all I wanted, and that's what I got, and I was surprised. I liked it more than Bad Boys 4. That film sucked ass.
Yeah, that might be the biggest surprise film for me, was the fact that that movie was actually pulled off without completely sucking ass. Okay. The Beverly Hills Cop. I was like, I mean, I was really impressed that they were able to even make it that good. There's no way that movie should have been that good. But yeah. Let's see. Did you hear that Warner Brothers put up a survey to see if they should release the Nightmare on Elm Street sequels or the Lethal Weapon sequels? God, I hope that's true. I think there was some sort of survey though, wasn't it, where they like put a bunch of movies up there and said what would people want to see on.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that, but man, I mean, I might go for the Lethal Weapon sequels, honestly, or just the franchise as a whole. Put out an updated version of those. That'd be interesting.
Let's see. Everybody talking shit about the Soska sisters.
So what was the plot of that film? I haven't seen Festival of the Dead or Living Dead.
I think
was it Living Dead?
It might have been Living Dead. I don't know.
So it was
probably John Russo probably owns Living Dead and he won't fucking let him use it. It's probably just Festival of the Dead.
So very cheap.
I couldn't tell you because, like I said, I made it through about 10 minutes of it, and I was like, "No."
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what the title sounds like. They go to like a festival, but I think it's a commemorative like get together at this festival for like the original zombie thing, and then like zombies are there, real zombies are there, something like that. That's the gist of it.
So it's right now sitting at a 4.4 on IMDb, which is really gracious. I want to be honest. That's a gracious score.
Yeah, I'll say.
So there's not that many reviews. I'm assuming most of that's the cast and crew that voted on that.
Oh, randomly, I did see Nightmare Beach. You guys were right about that. That was a fun, weird, but fun movie.
Yeah, it's an interesting, odd kind of oddity from that time period. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great palate cleanser after Uwe Boll's Seed and It's Pat.
God. Jesus Christ. That's like a double feature from hell right there, isn't it?
Yeah. Michael Prey and then like, oh, Uwe Boll, shocking. Let's have real animal killing from PETA for 2 minutes in the first 2 minutes of the movie. Thank you, Uwe, you asshole.
I'm so glad that guy's gone. Nobody has to put up this shit anymore.
Sadly, he's coming back. He's making movies now.
Please no.
He's got like 4 movies in the pipeline, apparently.
Who's still giving that guy money?
Germany, apparently. Just the whole like country. I think it's some sort of sick, twisted ploy to like, get back at us for World War II or something.
It's still funny how there's 2 Uwe Boll documentaries and I'm in one and you guys are in the other.
Yep.
So
speaking of that list though from Warner Bros., somebody posted the list in Discord. That survey. So it is, yeah. I thought I read something like that. So Wes says, I bet Warner Bros. Will do another Blu-ray box set for the Elm Street films if they ever do a 4K set. Probably. I mean, that would be the ultimate way to fuck everybody over, is just do a new like Blu-ray set that's updated with special features or something like that. And then like turn right around and make that into like a 4K set about 6 months later.
Yep.
I could see them doing a 4K, just charging up the ass for it though, too, just straight up, and
I
people will
could
pay
too.
for it.
I could see it going either way. I mean, they're definitely hard up for money. So
Mm-hmm.
So
What's up, Anthony?
would either you buy it? Hope you're doing well, Anthony. A 4K set of Elm Street.
from them, probably not, because it's going to suck. Like, I mean, it's not going to have anything on it. Probably it's
Mhm.
going to be bare bones, like editions of all the movies. It's probably not going to be done well either, like the remasters.
Right,
Mhm.
yeah. They'll just you know, put it in, what is it, 2160p, and then
Mm-hmm.
dump it on a disc.
Call it a day. Somebody will render that shit for them, and they'll just fucking nobody will pay attention to it. They'll run it through an automatic.
Yeah, there won't be any attention to detail
Nope.
on it.
Alyssa Milano, star of Teen Wolf 3, says, "Did Stuntman go to Flashback Weekend? If so, what did he pick up?"
Oh man.
I'm
So
curious about this shit.
that's been way too much. I got some original one sheet posters. And I bought quite a few from this one vendor. And he had, it was the Pieces original one sheet poster, which I really wanted, and that one's been eluding me for a while. So he had it for, I think, 150 or something like that. And then because I bought so many other ones, he's like, "I'll let it go for 100." And I was very tempted, but I knew I still had other stuff to see and buy and shit. So I
So
was
what?
like,
You didn't buy it?
I did not.
Oh, son of a bitch!
I did not.
I'm disappointed right now.
I should have, but I bought so much other stuff. So I got some stuff from this really amazing guy. If anybody out there that goes to Flashback Weekend, check out Scott's section. He has a store online, Scott's Variety Shop. Check that out as well. I go to his booth every year. Super nice guy. He has a bunch of unique pieces that he makes himself. I bought some wall pieces there, stuff that lights up, stuff that moves, stuff like that. That was all really expensive. And I'm actually going to be working with him on a design for something for physical media. I have the design ready. I just have to have him go forward with the creation. So whenever that's completely done, I'll probably show it either on here or on my channel or something. What else did I buy? Oh, Severance table was really nice. They had some good deals at the table. Bought like 3 movies, I want to say, and then they gave me some free stuff. Which, shout out to Jake at the Severance table. That guy was cool. He's a big fan of Dead Pit. I'm not bullshitting you. He actually was. He really was.
I mean, I think that more so than probably anybody else, we give Severn publicity one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it matters because, controversy creates cash for them. So,
yeah. There's like a documentary in that Bruceploitation box set.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So there's like a solo Blu-ray version of that. He gave me that for free. And what else was it? I know I got the Siege and then some Bruno Mattei stuff, but you gotta get that.
Yeah.
Bought one thing from Vinegar Syndrome's table. It was just Mother's Day. Again, got that for really cheap. I had been putting off buying that for hell and ever.
Did they have any copies of Roadhouse?
I didn't see any.
In the big fucking box? Yeah.
I didn't see any. What else did I get? Oh, of course, I got a bunch of stuff signed, so that was cool. Yeah, I think that might be it. So yeah, movies, one sheets, and some unique display pieces, and that's it.
Who was the guy that you got the most shit signed by? I'm curious.
It would have been Tony Todd. So he did not show up. And have you heard anything about that? Like, he's apparently got like health issues going on. So they said he canceled because like the doctors told him not to fly. It wasn't good for him to be flying right now. So I don't know what's going on there. I hope he pulls through whatever it is.
There's a lot of people passing away here lately that are, I mean, of classic kind of horror film status.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would have been like a Crow set, my Final Destination set, which I have right over here, and this huge bust for Night of the Living Dead, the 1990 version. So hold on, I'll grab the Final Destination set.
Does it come with a real roller coaster ride or something you got like in your house? It comes with an actual plane from the first one.
It's a real coffin.
Yeah.
For all the deaths, all the people.
So you guys can see that.
That's so killer.
The light's gonna kill me here, but you guys can see that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so this thing, now this is like something they should be doing for the Nightmare set, like if they were to ever do that. So I mean, you know, the original artwork for the first one, but they're all media books, and then and they really pop too. Especially, I don't even like the fourth one, but like it really
badass.
pops. The glass is like reflective. They're really cool. I mean, again, it's not the best franchise ever, but I like the first few movies.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how many of those films do you like?
The first two for sure. I could watch the third one, and 5 has some interesting moments. I think the only one that I really hate is actually the fourth one. Not a fan of that one at all.
Now wait a minute. Is the fourth one the racetrack?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I fucking hate that one too.
Yeah.
But,
I can't tell the fourth or the fifth one difference. Like, I don't remember which is which.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, he's only got a small part in it, but I think Tony Todd's in the fifth one. I think the fourth one he's not in, and the third one maybe. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, he canceled. So did Devin Sawa, and somebody else canceled. But yeah, that's why I was like, this is the perfect time I could get them to sign the box set. Geez, I don't want to spend too much time talking about the con because the show's not all about me. But Sam Raimi signed that big Ash set, and he took up so much time playing with like the shotgun that comes in and out, which I thought was killer. Because he's like, this is extraordinary. He said that he had no idea that like the Germans were releasing stuff like that, or they even knew about the Evil Dead movies. And I'm like, Sam,
they crazy, man.
Yeah, they love Evil Dead over there. I've got so many Evil Dead German things. But yeah, he spent time playing with the set, and it held up the line just a bit. So sorry for anybody that was behind me. Yeah, Michael Gross was awesome. Had him sign some stuff. He was impressed with the Cool as Ice set. So that was pretty funny.
I'd say anybody that sees that's impressed that exists.
Yeah, he was very surprised. He kept talking about how nice Vanilla Ice was. That was funny. I should have got the photo op, but I didn't want to do any photo ops this year. They had the actual like graboid there.
Oh, that's
like that, and that thing was huge. I had no idea until like some lady in front of me was getting it signed. She had got a picture with him with the graboid. Don Coscarelli was awesome. Geez, I mean, everybody I got something signed by was really cool. It was really fun. I mean, I got a ton of stories. I could go on and on all day about conversations and stuff that happened. But yeah,
no, I mean, I always enjoy stories about conventions and things like that too. Go ahead, man.
I was say, was it like Keith David didn't talk to you, but he talked to you in the elevator?
So, so I went up to his table, and right as somebody was leaving from in front of him, I came up, and it was like as soon as I turned to face him, he was already picking up his phone, and I'm like, oh shit. So I still proceed to talk to him and ask him questions, but he didn't say anything right away because he was texting, and I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna be another William B. Davis situation. And luckily, the guy that was standing next to him said, like, he'll get to you in a minute, man. He's like, don't worry about it. He's like, as soon as he's done, he'll trust me. It'll be worth it. And it was, because as soon as he was done, he was like, sorry about that. And he talked to me for a very extensive amount of
I
time.
think
So.
I honestly think that at conventions and shit where they're getting paid that amount of money, though, they should make them put their fucking phones up like it's going to school or something. Like they should have them like have a locker where they have to put their goddamn phones unless it's an emergency. Like, and you just can't be like sitting around fucking around on your phones because there's too many of those guys that do that at conventions, and like it happens constantly where people will go up to them and they'll just be dicking around on their phones.
Yeah.
Miguel Nunez, piece of fucking shit.
That's a funny story. I remember you guys talking that
God.
one. But yeah, no, Keith was great in the elevator when I rode up with him. He was fucking with me in the elevator. That was funny. I'll never forget that.
Well, what do you mean by that? Like,
well,
how was he?
So he had like a Bluetooth speaker with him. And and I don't know if this happens at other conventions. I've never seen this happen. He had his Bluetooth speaker with him, and it was like behind his chair when he was at the table. So he's playing music, his own personal music on it.
I've never heard anybody doing that. That's
yeah. So he takes that with him as he's going upstairs, and he's got his people with him. And we both get into the same elevator. And he starts talking about how good that music sounds. And I had completely forgotten that he was playing music at his table. And he's like, don't you like that music? And I'm like, yeah, I guess it's interesting elevator music. And he's like, oh, wait, that's my music, isn't it? And so the lady with him was like, yeah, your Bluetooth is still on. So I don't know if he had forgot he was playing it or what. Anyway, that was funny. And then he was like, could you press whatever floor he was getting off on? And I kept trying to press it and the damn thing wouldn't register. And he's like, you kind of fucked that up, didn't you? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's not working. I don't know what you want me to do. He was funny though, man. He was really cool.
I always fucking get him and David Keith mixed up. I never know. So Keith David is the fucking guy from The Thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I always get those two mixed up. So there's a show coming up, by the way. There's another Whorehound coming up in Cincy. I think that's the next show.
Mm-hmm.
And then Scarefest is after that, I think. And I'm not sure like I'm not sure what other shows going on at that time. But like I was looking at I want to go to another show. I can't convince like CK to go. So he's definitely not going to Whorehound, and I don't even know if he's going to Scarefest, but I'm definitely going to Scarefest. Whorehound's guest list is really odd, so I don't know.
Nobody you want to see on there, really?
Not really. It's just a weird. Hold on, I'm gonna bring it up because it struck me as just odd. Some of the people they had on here.
Well, I was curious with you. I know you haven't been big on like the prices and all that stuff and many other factors. So what drives you to still want to go to conventions? Is it just
mostly vendors? And for me at this point in my life, it's vendors, honestly. But like seeing other people there that you always run into at least a couple people that you've seen at like every other fucking convention. And I'm talking about just like people that go to all these shows and stuff, not celebrities or anything like that. So that's always fun. Like you see the same group of people that go to like every show. Cool. But real quick, so this is what I'm talking about. Like Cole Sprouse and Catherine Newton from that Lisa Frankenstein movie, I don't give a fuck. Kevin Smith is going to be there. He's been at like 5 million of these shows. Melissa Barrera from Scream, all the people from Scream, even the bit players like fucking the chick that was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She's going to be there. Mikey Madison.
Yeah, okay.
The chick that plays Abigail, even though I like that movie, I don't give a fuck about meeting her. She's like a kid. You know, if you think about it for a second, what in the fuck does a 40-something-year-old guy from like Kentucky, why, like, have in common with a little girl that's fucking. What are we going to talk about?
That's
Like,
the same way. What's her name? I can't remember the little girl in Terrifier 2 who's wearing like
oh yeah,
the art makeup or the clown makeup or
yeah.
whatever. She was at the show, I think last year, and I had no idea what to talk to her about. And that
Yeah.
never happens because I talk to everybody quite extensively, and I just couldn't really like find anything to say. Like
Like, what do you
she's
say?
like
You like
14 or 13 or something. I'm like, yeah,
you like math? Like, what do
right.
you fucking say? uh,
Well, I know this is a weird question, but do you think that maybe they should just not allow kids to do conventions, at least until a certain age, because of I don't know, I just
it's
once
weird.
a while,
It is
yeah.
weird. Yeah.
Hmm. When did Quinn Lord start? Because he was there at the show this past weekend, and the
I
dude's like
mean, I
20
saw
something now.
him. We saw him at conventions back when we were fucking like pretty much from the beginning after that movie came out. He was doing conventions.
Hmm.
So I don't know how old he was, but like young kid doing those shows. Yeah, it's always just weird when I see kids at shows for some reason. Like it's just because like I mean, it's one thing to be an adult and maybe like have somebody that's stalking you or something like that, or somebody that's like obsessed with a movie. It's
Yeah.
another thing, like if you're a little kid and somebody comes up to you, and let's be honest, like we've all seen people at shows that are obsessed and maybe a little bit off, and like
Hmm.
I don't know if you want them around like kids or really anybody for that matter. But yeah, that's about. I mean, there's some other people on there, like, but there's nobody I give a shit about on that list. Eric Freeman's going to be there. C.J. Graham, Don Shanks, Amanda Weiss, a bunch of people from Nightmare on Elm Street. I've already met all those people, so I don't give a shit. But some people probably do. Another super chat. Did you watch the Jeffrey Dahmer miniseries on Netflix back when it came out in 2022? I did. I don't know about anybody else.
The first episode, didn't they change a lot of facts though? Like, I don't know, I remember like watching it and then looking up some info, and it seemed like a lot of things were really like the stuff with the cops. It just that's always weird. But is that the one I'm thinking of? It was always weird when they do these like biopic type of things that if you look up the real stuff, like how much they change on it, and it's like I don't know how to feel because I'm like, okay, they're doing it for entertainment or for their narrative, but at the same time, I don't know, it's kind of weird when they start changing the real story, the real facts, and misconstrue things, or maybe that's just it's always a weird factor for me. I don't know how to describe it the best.
I
Maybe that's just,
remember
yeah.
I remember something about that movie, like about that series. One of the main things about that series was there's like a running narrative that a couple of people from that building, and especially one woman, like kept trying to get the police to
Yeah.
like understand that something was going on in that apartment. I think that that's true to a degree, but the way they portrayed it in the series was like that they were like constantly on this like
Okay.
mission to get the police to like. I don't think that's the way that any of that shit went down. From what I can remember about reading about it. I mean, they may have tried to call like once or twice or something like that, but I don't think it was a giant like cause that they took up like they made it seem like in the movie. But all of that stuff, there's dramatic license to all that because you got to
Okay.
make
Yeah.
something that's like, keeps people hooked and entertaining. But I don't think a lot of the stuff that happened in that movie, like there's no way to tell how it happened. Like a lot of the murder scenes and stuff like that, like there's no way to say that happened that way, like
Yeah.
the way that are portrayed, or a lot of that stuff about how he was captured and like how that all happened. Like there's just no way.
So I'm curious. I mean, granted, they're two completely different ways of doing it, but would you say you prefer, like, say, Jeffrey Dahmer, a mini series like that, or a documentary? I mean, granted, they're two completely different things, but like, do you have a preference? The same with you, Mark. Like, when you see something like that, do you prefer seeing the documentary on it, or do you prefer this dramatic licensed narrative version?
Well, first would always be documentary for me because I'm always fascinated and probably a little obsessed with like true crime stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't mind seeing like the an interpretation of it, like of
Right.
some sort. Like, I mean, if it's done well, like,
Yeah.
you know, that's fine. But yeah, I could go either way. But if I had to pick one over the other, I would say the actual documentary of what really happened.
Yeah, I would probably say the same. Like the ones that Netflix did there for a while that were really, really great, like the one on the Night Stalker that they did that was
Yes.
basically just a documentary. Like something like that are the ones that I prefer
Okay.
the most. The other one that they did on Bundy, the Bundy tapes one, that's probably like my favorite. That's an amazing
Yeah.
documentary.
I think that one I hadn't seen it before, but it popped up right after I watched the Zac Efron movie,
Yeah.
the extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile movie, which I
Yeah.
thought he was great in, and it was recommended on Netflix right after that went off, and I sat there and just binged the whole thing. It was really, really good, and I'm thinking to myself, I could see why everybody liked this guy. He was kind of charming. I mean, you get the sense of how he lured people in, like with the whole nice guy routine or just being
He
easy to talk to.
he was one of the most fascinating because of how normal that he seemed.
Mhm.
Most of these other guys, like you look at Ramirez and stuff, and he's like fucking teeth are falling out and he's crazy and
At the
drawing
fucking panic room. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you pretty much see that guy coming. But Bundy, yeah, it's a little bit harder to spot somebody like Bundy.
I guess I was also curious because I know coming soon I got a request to check out. I think it's the Confession Killer. There's one on Henry Lee Lucas on
Oh
Netflix.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
So I guess I was just curious about the whole thing.
There's a whole conspiracy, not to give that away, but there's a whole conspiracy around him that either because he was borderline mentally, however you want to say it nowadays. I don't know how to
Oh,
fucking
okay.
PC say it. There's a conspiracy theory that he made up the majority of those, like, then those were false confessions that he just kind of like enjoyed the fame and the notoriety of all that, and he confessed to a bunch of murders that he didn't actually commit. And then there's
Mm.
other people that say that like he actually did either commit those or know the person because he was in partnership with that Otis, so that Tool guy, the guy that
Mhm.
would eventually end up fucking that guy's a fucking piece of work.
Yeah.
Killing what's that guy's name, Mark?
John Walsh's son.
John Walsh's son. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, those two guys, there was definitely something there, but they're saying that like his claim that he killed 200 people or something like that's probably bullshit.
So
Yeah, the
oh,
numbers were
sorry, go ahead.
sorry. Well, I was just gonna say the numbers were so high. Like I always questioned it. I'm like that. I mean, you would have to be killing like 3 to 5 people a day, like
Right.
because in the amount of time that they said that they killed people in, like from year to year. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if you're killing that many people that quickly and that often.
So you feel he did? He just embellished it.
Yeah, I feel like he probably like murdered a couple people or at least was there for the murder of a couple people, maybe.
Mhm.
And then just like was so fucked up in the head that he enjoyed the notoriety and just started like confessing to everything that came along to kind of build it up more.
Yeah.
Mm.
How far do I live from Atlanta? That's a good fucking question. I'm not even sure. I've never been to Atlanta. I don't think. But I've been through Georgia. I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure. Wow, what the hell's going on in Atlanta? Just out of curiosity. Have you ever heard of Frightmare at the Falls in Niagara Falls, Canada? It's an impressive guest list. The Raimi brothers, Richard Dreyfuss, Tony Todd, etc. Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Oh God, the girl that was Megan does conventions. It's always weird, and she always does the dance. That'll get Rambo out of the house right there. He likes that movie so much.
Definitely.
Check out Confessions of a Serial Killer with Robert Burns. Good take on Henry Lee Lucas.
I know this is a weird notion, but did you ever think of doing like a stream about this subject of these killers? I know you made the joke like I'm a fan of serial killers, but
Yeah.
at the same time, there's an intriguing aspect to the psychology of it all, and definitely these documentaries. There's definitely
There is like I can tell you, like if it wasn't for how many of those streams that there is a channel. There's a channel called Explore With Us that I watch constantly. That is a fucking amazing. Like I just feel like there's people out there doing that topic like 1,000 times better than I could ever do it.
Oh, okay.
And it's like if you watch something like that, you're kind of like, I could never piece all this shit together like this and make it like as good as this guy is doing. And he's got like a narrator and like he redoes all this stuff and like pieces together like what happened like chronologically through like this whole thing.
Okay.
And it's just, yeah. I mean, I don't think I could ever do anything that good. I mean, I can get on here and bullshit about serial killers all night, but you know.
So, I mean, again, it's interesting, but what we see, what is it that fascinating about the subject? Because in a weird way, it is repulsive. It is horrible what they've done, but why do we get fascinated by that subject? It's just because because we're saying we can't understand it, so it's kind of that curiosity or kind of that mystery about it, or is there something else entirely?
Well, at least for me, I mean, I do have an interest in the macabre. Not saying that I'm going to go do any of that, but
Mark's gonna fuck some people up, bulls. You heard it here first.
no, I mean, I always wonder, like, how can people go to that place and mentally and just do that? I mean, regardless if it's Dahmer, Bundy, whoever, it's just like, what makes those guys tick? So part of it is that I love seeing the interviews with them when they talk about, their crimes and stuff, but the investigation, how they got caught or just the crimes themselves, them trying to figure out, it's almost like a big mystery, even though you know the answer to the mystery, just sort of the journey that it takes you on. And I love forensic stuff. I mean, shows like Forensic Files and stuff like that. I love those shows. So it's just something I'm into.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I enjoy anything that's in the off skirts of like paranormal stuff. To me, is the same thing as serial killer. It's in the off like shoots of reality somehow or another. Like it's like you know some of it happens, and with serial killers that happens, but you just can't wrap your head around it, and it's fascinating to like explore like how somebody becomes that way and like how like they carry out all that stuff and how they, like you said, eventually gets caught.
And everybody's got a different story too.
Yeah. They just don't give a shit. Yeah, I mean, in some ways that's very true. They
Sometimes
really
that's all it is, but then other times it goes a little bit deeper. So
that's a fucking interesting case right there.
Did what? Yeah. Okay.
There's Mark, you have to have seen this too. Possibly one of my favorite series of all time. And I fucking hate the fact that they canceled it and probably will never do another one of those either. I don't know why they canceled it either now that I think about it. Was that series that was on Netflix with, oh God. It was about when they started the FBI serial killer task force. And the two guys that, what the fuck was the name of it? It's just something simple too. Somebody on here is bound to know
I
this.
think I know what you're talking about, and I might have watched a little bit of it. Was it? Um,
Mindhunter? Was it just Mindhunter? I
I
think that
think
was
that's
it.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
So the whole premise of that show was it followed around like the first couple of guys that began to piece together like how to track down serial killers. And they did that by interviewing all these different serial killers that were in prison. So they would go in there and they would ask them, all these psychological questions, and then like how they got caught and what they did and what their MO was and all this stuff. Well, the cool thing about that is through that show, they had all these different people playing the serial killers. The guy that played Kemper was one of the best fucking performances I've ever seen. And if anybody out there has any interest in this kind of stuff, you've got to see that show. There's like 2 seasons of it, I think, and then they canceled it. I
Mhm.
don't know why. It's amazing, but like, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I do remember that, and it was getting a lot of hype, and a lot of people were talking about it around when it first dropped on Netflix. They seem to do that quite a bit. I hate that. Like, there will be some stuff that they produce that's actually fairly interesting and a cut above the rest of the obvious and familiar
Yeah.
shit they always do, and then they drop it. I don't get that.
Mm.
I don't either. I mean, I really don't get it with that because it was popular and it was like really, really well made. So it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. But yeah. I was looking on here to see when like the last episode of that came out. There's another show called Mindhunter too, though, so it's hard to
Mm,
differentiate them. 2019,
that sounds right.
that was the last season, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a great show though. They've got a guy playing Kemper, they got a guy playing Manson. The guy that was Manson was good too. They've got like Dennis Rader. He's like he follows through the whole first season and the end of the second season. Yeah, David Fincher was the guy that was working on it. I think he directed some of the episodes and he also was the producer.
Okay.
And I think he was a part of the reason why it got canceled, but I don't know the exact story.
Hmm.
But yeah, great show. And for people that have that kind of interest.
Okay.
Anyway, we've talked about serial killers for quite a long time. I feel like the FBI is probably like listening to this at this point, like the stream. Like, but yeah, we're closing in on the 2 hour mark. If anybody's got any like closing things they want to throw in here, throw it in now. Big thanks to everybody, by the way, that was over at the stream, the 10,000 stream last night. That was great. Thanks to everybody that sent in videos too, including you guys.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Of
Least I could
course.
do. It's the least I could do.
Absolutely. Well, I'll throw this out there.
Oh shit.
Well, what was either the story or the killer that you heard or saw about and was the most surprising in some way, whatever that way may be, they just like either mind blowing because how did I never hear this before, or it was like the weirdest, or just whatever parameter you want to use.
Zodiac for me still is like the most interesting and mind blowing that he was never caught, given the fact that so many people were on the case, and he wrote, all those letters and apparently put his identity in at least one of them. And I did see something a few years ago that like somebody deciphered it and figured out who it was, but I don't know if the guy was already dead or something like that. I don't know. I'd have to look that up again, but he's just, I mean, all that shit he did was crazy. I mean, it's right out of like a slasher film. He has like a costume, a symbol, a mask, specific weapons using the rope, the gun, the knife. It's crazy shit, man.
And he was like one of the only guys too. Well, not the only guy, but one of definitely the first guys that like sent these letters and stuff in, and like
Taunting the
to
police.
taunting the and had to the
Mhm.
press, and like like you said, they had codes in them that they didn't crack for like ever.
Mhm.
And finally, it was some random motherfucker. I can't remember who it was that cracked it, but it wasn't like the police or anything like that. It is a bizarre story. Like it's to even think that it happened.
It was Jay Gyllenhaal, wasn't
It was Jake Gyllenhaal.
it? In the movie.
Piece of shit. Turns out it was Maggie that was the Zodiac.
So, okay, let's put. Does that mean you tuned in the Zodiac because Jay Gyllenhaal was in it? Even though you like the idea?
There's something about that movie where I just never got into it. It might be Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't know. There's something about it. Like people love that movie, and I watched it, and I was just kind of like,
It's pretty
it's
long.
okay. Yeah.
It's very long. I think it's like about 3 hours or so. If not, it's pretty close to being 3 hours. It's very, very well shot, but I mean that's everything Fincher does for the most part.
I'll tell you this though, like my response to that question would be Albert Fish. He's the one that's to me, like I try to wrap my head around some of the shit that he did and just like how he was. And it's very fucking difficult for me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
He was a child killer.
Mm.
He was a sadomasochist.
Mm.
He was like almost non-human.
Okay.
I mean, really, like everything that he did, the way that he did it, and like how he presented himself to people was almost like he was not a person.
Okay, I'm not familiar with Albert Fish.
Well, there's probably nothing I can say about him on this stream that wouldn't get us
Yeah, okay.
immediately. Like,
Gotcha. Yeah,
yeah.
of course.
But look him up if you want to
Right.
just like be horrified.
Yeah, didn't he?
When
Well,
was he? What
like
years?
the 20s or 30s?
20s or 30s, yeah.
Oh wow, that far back. Okay.
Didn't he like stick needles in his? Yeah.
When they electrocuted
just-
him, he basically burst into flames because he had so many like needles stuck into his groin.
Mm-hmm.
If that gives you
Yeah.
any idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's everyone's
Exactly, yeah.
favorite pastime.
They never made a movie on this guy. I'm not saying there needs to be, but I'm surprised with.
I think there is one.
There's one of those like kind of crappy ones.
Oh, okay.
You know, like the Gacy one that had the guy from Pee Wee in it. that style. But
Okay.
there's not like a big one. Alfa Romero like throwing in the fucking Norm Macdonald joke, which is killer. Yeah. He was a real
Okay.
jerk.
Hmm.
Okay.
But you like if you're asking like which one surprised me the most or which one just like I was just like what in the fuck, that would definitely be the one.
Wow.
There's another one. He's probably not as infamously known as some of these other guys, but his it's so funny. His nickname, it was Charlie Chop Off. I don't know if I could say, so he liked to chop off, you know what, of little boys.
What the fuck, Mark?
He's look, if you guys are in the chat are interested in the craziest serial killers, one of the
Nah,
craziest ever,
I'm good.
that guy was
Yeah,
on
I'm
a whole
good.
nother level of insane. He's another one. I don't think they ever caught him.
How do you
Really?
fucking
That was like
not
the
catch
I
that
think
dude?
the 60s or the 70s, one of the two. I want to say the 70s. Yeah.
Good God.
And he would leave the
you know,
bodies on like rooftops or something, I think.
I've
Yeah, it's
never
pretty
heard of
crazy.
that guy.
Oh, it's really fucked up, that whole story. All the
So
stuff
if he
he's
was
done.
never caught, he just stopped.
Or got killed or something. They honestly don't know.
Most of the time they don't stop. They either go to prison or die.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
It's one of those two things.
Do you remember? I mean, no details, but how many?
How many victims?
Yeah.
Over 5 for sure.
Hmm.
I don't remember the exact count, but I know it was over 5.
Damn.
That is FUBAR right there.
Indeed.
Thanks for the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't end on that. There's
I mean, I was
ending
gonna
the
say
show
like we
on that.
probably should pivot away from the serial killer stuff. So I could talk about all those guys all night. There's so many of them, probably ones that people never heard of, and he's one that always sticks out because the ones that never get caught or they actually figure out the identity of the guys, pretty interesting to me because everybody seems to get caught when it comes to this stuff at some point or another.
I thank God for somebody sending a super chat. Hey Matt,
Hey,
have you heard of the Macaulay, the legendary tigress of Ranthambore?
no.
If you would have, I'd have been like, "What?"
I'm trying to look at what that is. No, I have no idea what that is. What is it, Matthew? I mean, thank you for the super chat, but yeah, what is it?
It's the legendary tigress of Ranthambore.
Well, yeah, that's true. But
Yeah, I mean, need we say more? Really?
no, I mean, I'm not up on my tigresses. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I can't answer. No, be the answer. No, I'm curious though. I mean, That's why I was asking about the serial
I
killer
am
stuff.
too.
Like, I'm always intrigued by that stuff. Just wanting to learn more about stuff.
It's
I
weird
guess.
because
Sort of.
I was just gonna say, like back in the day, like I had the Time Life series of books.
Really?
Yeah, they had like a Time Life fucking serial killers set at one point in time, and like it was fascinating. And I used to read that, and then you'd get the books. Like I think her name was Anne Rule, wrote the books on Bundy. She was a friend of Bundy's that worked on the suicide hotline with him. There's a whole backstory about Bundy where he's very odd in terms of like not many serial killers were like him. He worked at a suicide hotline and apparently like by all accounts was like really good at his job and saved a bunch of people's lives and simultaneously was going out and killing like women. It's just
He seemed to be like all over the place. That's like was that him who I don't want to say he met Kurt Russell or there's something with Kurt Russell like he was out camping in the area where Bundy had like escaped from and it was like at a campsite and he was there and Kurt Russell was there. But again, he was much younger, obviously. You guys know that story at all?
I hadn't heard that story, but I totally believe that.
It's if you guys just search it on YouTube, you could see Kurt Russell tells the story. So I'll butcher it, so I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, just look it up after this.
Holy shit! I just noticed too that Zodiac has a new 4K. We were just talking about that. It's like the film just got released on 4K.
Oh, nice.
There's another super chat. Mackay, it's a real tigress of Ranthambore that was a popular tourist attraction and helped boost the tiger population in India. I feel like we're learning tonight. Tonight's been an educational.
It's the knowledge stream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it says here, thank you, Matthew, that it was in India. It boosted from 15 tigers in 2004 to 50 in 2014, thanks to her. And she was like the most photographed famous tiger. Okay, yeah. Didn't know about that. Learn something new every day. Did she kill people too?
Yeah.
That's a Zodiac killer there.
Yep.
She was high all over. But thank you.
Remember that? You remember that whole thing where everybody was saying Ted Cruz was the Zodiac killer for a while? That was like my favorite thing that happened with any serial killer.
Now, do you wish that was true?
Kinda. It would be fucking amazing. Have you or the crew ever heard of a Freedom of Information Act request successfully locating a lost film seized by U.S. authorities? Tried asking when Felcher was on last. Fuck no, I don't remember that at all, or ever hearing about that.
I do not either. It's no one on me.
Speaking of which, I mean, it's not that, but wasn't it this or next month, September, that Jerry Lewis film? That the clown one?
Oh, the one where it's like that was never released or something before.
And it was like this year and this month it finally would be available, or
I heard about
possibility.
that. Yeah, I had heard about that because that film has such a history. And it was like he never wanted it released.
Yeah.
And then I did hear something that it was going to be released for the first time. I forget the name of it, but it's the one of like
The Day the Clown Cried or something.
Yeah. Isn't he a clown in like a concentration camp or something like that? Oh, jeez. Who the fuck makes that movie? I kind of want to see it just for the crazy like history of that.
Patch Adams for the Holocaust.
Yep, you need that.
Yeah.
He's back with another super chat. No, but she did kill a 14-foot crocodile.
That's actually pretty awesome.
How did she kill it? I'm just curious. Like, did she strangle it? Because that would be amazing. Like, put it in a headlock.
That's really how, because the hides are so tough on top. Like, that would take some damn effort.
Mm-hmm. How do you fucking kill a crocodile? Really, if you think about it, like
from underneath, because it's softer skin. But how does the tiger get under? That's the thing. Like, I mean, thankfully I don't see these videos, but like those pictures pop up, like the snakes that swallowed the crocodile, and like they literally burst because it's so wide. It's crazy shit, man.
Wow.
Great image, I know.
I'm just imagining. For some reason, I'm imagining Anaconda now. The movie.
John Voight
just staring. Yeah.
The Day the Clown Cried. There you go.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, I thought we were going to end on serial killers, but we're going to end on a fucking clown concentration camp movie. So you really can't win. It's just going to happen. Do I think a copy of London After Midnight will ever be discovered? That's an interesting question.
Well, I guess to be fair, no one ever thought that Metropolis, like the Folka, would be discovered, and then they found it. I forget what the story was. Like random, was it something in Europe? Some random place they found it. It seemed like, can't remember the details, but.
Well, another example of something like that recently was the Martin print showing up that had been in somebody's fucking house or farm or something like that for 30 or 40 years and nobody even knew it existed. It's like, so yeah, I guess there's always a possibility that somewhere somebody's got a print of something that they, have no idea about, and a family member, if they pass away, can find it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So not end on a sour note, serial killer. Is there a film print or something that you would like to see found one day? If not, or some cut or something that, you know what, I hope one day we get to see that some way, somehow.
Like a film that's been completely like lost in overall, or you mean like a movie that has like only a cut version out and you want to see like the
either one, whichever.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't think of one, the other, either one.
Yep. There's one I can think of. I mean, right off the top of my head.
Was that?
I don't know if this even exists. It may not, but like the Friday the 13th, there's two actually. Part 3 with the ending that everybody always talks about, which I do think exists somewhere, but they just don't know where the fuck it is. And Part 7 with the actual like uncensored kills and shit in it. I would love to see either one of those. Now there is some of that, and you can find it, but it's so shitty. The quality of it's so shitty in Part 7 that you can't even really tell what the fuck is going on. So if there was an actual print that you could like find that had that,
I'd probably say Wes Craven's original version of Cursed before the Harvey Scissorhands got a hold to it and fucked it all up, and they completely had to go back and reshoot the whole damn thing with new actors. Yeah, I've heard so many different stories about it. So yeah, that's one. I'd probably want to see that one for sure.
You think that movie would ever be good, Mark? I mean, like, is there a possibility that that movie would be good?
It's really hard to say because so much of it changed from what it originally was. I've never read the original script or anything, but looking at the finished product and knowing how the Weinsteins are and they're notorious for fucking things up, there's a slim chance. There's always a slim chance that maybe it was good.
Anorexic chance.
Yeah.
Alan McBeal's chance.
Yeah.
Chance. Shit.
I guess for me, I don't know if this was true, but I always heard the rumor that there was an original uncut version of Cobra, the Sylvester Stallone film, that it was 2 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot more violent, a lot more gory. There was a lot more killing. They just wiped out the whole town in the third act before Stallone took them out. And I guess I heard that a lot of it was cut out because they wanted it to be 90 minutes because they're competing with Top Gun and they wanted more screenings. And maybe the violence also because the MPA was pretty hard pressed on them. I don't know if that's true. If like someone has told me that, oh, it was on this VHS back in the day. Of course, never found the VHS, but they have no reason to lie. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to believe it until you see it, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even on the soundtrack, there's a music that was never in the movie, but it's a track called Skylight or Sky something. I'm like, where was this music? There's never in the movie, but I guess it was in that cut, but they just put on the soundtrack anyway. I would love to see that, but I'm not holding my breath, just like the Nighthawks, the uncut version, where you see the full 6 shots of Rutger Hauer, and the film is cut like in half, but yet Aftermath is 6 shots. Like that stuff, I would love to see. Yeah, Cliffhanger, that was very violent because it's Rennie Harlan who did Die Hard 2, where icicles into people's eyeballs. Yeah, if you find a WordPress Cliffhanger, it is worse than the Friday 13 Part 7 footage. You can barely see anything, but it's like much more violent, blood squibs. But well, I don't think we'll ever see it. But yeah, it would be nice because horror and action were the two that got cut to bits in that 80s, 90s, which is too bad.
So you know about this one? Somebody says the original cut of the Ninja Turtles 90.
Yeah, that one, like for example, there's the guy Tatsu when there's a scene where he fights a younger kid. In the movie, they added in he's breathing, but in the movie he really killed the kid.
Wow.
Like I mean, there's nothing violent. It was just that
Jesus Christ.
when they
That's a
check
little
on,
bit dark for that movie, isn't it?
yeah, and there's a lot of other extra scenes. Like for example, when April O'Neil is drawing everybody, the one person she doesn't draw is Michelangelo, and that's because there's a scene cut out where he loses it, and he's like, because he's always the nice guy, but he's like punching a punching bag, wrecking a barn because he's so upset with everything. But like you said, I'm sure they cut it down because it's a kid's film. They thought it was too intense. Apparently that footage was out there, and well, they just decided not to show it. Why? You could make money off it, but what do I know? They don't like to make money and stuff. They like to spend $100 million on Borderlands movies and flop.
Speaking of which, the Iron cut of Suicide Squad.
I didn't like the movie, so I don't care about another cut of the film.
I would want to see it. I'm just a big fan of David Ayer. I like pretty much everything that he's done. I'd be willing to check it out. I don't think it can be any worse than anything else that came out during the Snyderverse saga. So I'd be willing to give it a chance. He's still talking about that on Twitter. He just posted something. It was either today. Well, I guess it was yesterday because it's probably Saturday by now. But yeah, he posted like something from the script that he found, his original script, and yeah, it's a completely different film according to him. So I'd be willing to give it a shot.
This is something I've heard about over the years, multiple different times. The unrated Night of the Living Dead 90.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently that film was kind of butchered too in terms of cuts and things like that they had to make. And Savini is notorious for, you know, the FX work. So I don't know what here's the interesting thing about that. I know that Michael Felcher is working on some version of that movie because he talked about it. I wonder if he has any access to any of those scenes and there's any attempt to put that shit in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm betting that there is probably.
Have you? I've actually stayed away from Savini as heard cons just because I've heard the horror stories. But by chance, have you ever asked Savini about that or know anybody who's talked to him about that? Because I know he always said
I'll never ask that motherfucker another question.
I figured. But I think he said only about 40% of what he wanted actually made it in the movie. The other stuff they didn't shoot. So I'm wondering whatever that they did shoot, what was exactly cut? Because it is essentially almost a bloodless zombie movie, which is weird.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like real like gore in that movie at all.
Not really, no.
Right. And you get the impression that there probably would have been in some scenes too. Mm-hmm. Like there's probably stuff missing from those scenes the way it's edited.
Yeah.
And thank you, Matthew. I saw your last one. Hopefully the Tigress passed on her DNA, so her
I didn't even see that.
As badass as her. Yeah, you take down a 14-foot crop. You took down the Lake Placid. Go for it.
Yeah.
That's respect. Respect.
Yeah. Interesting question here. Do you guys enjoy horror-inspired metal music, such as King Diamond or countless other death metal bands?
I'll say yes, but I can't really think of any off the top of my head.
Well, I like
but yeah.
I like the Misfits. Every fall, I'll start listening to Misfits shit because it just reminds me of the fall for some reason. I like Lizzie Borden, which is like to me a really underrated fucking metal band that mostly covers like that kind of stuff. I like some of King Diamond stuff and Merciful Fate stuff and things like that. As far as the death metal bands, I never really got into them that much, but the rest of that, like, yeah, I do like a lot of those bands.
If it's the death metal, it's like, I hate that shit. I want to understand what you're saying.
You're like Cannibal Corpse.
No. I needed like a subtitled or something like, I'm like, okay, here's some Bianca or something.
What's the other? It's not death metal, not Norwegian black metal. It's another one where it's like a heavy emphasis on them screaming. Is it called screamo?
There is screamo.
That's like, what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Screamo is like that horrible new version of that shit where they'll like go really, really high with the screams and then like go down to like a guttural kind of low shit too. Yeah. I fucking cannot stand that type of music.
Yeah, the Cookie Monster vocals, exactly.
Speaking of which though, one of the guys that I love that does kind of music like that, he was schizophrenic, but and nobody ever talks about him that much anymore. But we used to use one of his songs as one of the intros, is Rocky Erickson. And he made an album that's one of my favorite albums of all time. And I don't know, like it's not traditionally like what you would think of when you think of like a guy interpreting, horror films and music. Cause it's more like, I'm not sure how you would describe his type of music, like classic rock, indie, alternative from like, I don't know how even to explain it, but Creature with an Atom Brain, or that was the one that we used to use on the show. And then like he just took those old sci-fi movies and like he made like a ton of different songs about it. Like I said, he was schizophrenic too, but like he made some amazing music.
Hmm.
Is that
There's
the
a
one
great
that, like
documentary about him
on
too.
the road? Like they did that on the
No,
road? Oh
no,
no,
no.
okay, that was a different one.
There, he wasn't really like metal at all.
Okay.
Do we like Russian doom wave? Yes, that's my favorite.
Oh, of course.
There's a lot, I mean, there's a lot of weird names. They just kind of like they just randomly pulled out of a dictionary, like this one, and then this one, and then this one. I don't know, like what was the? I mean, if you can't say it for YouTube, but what was like the weirdest band name you heard? Or
Satan's almighty penis was always one of my favorites.
I mean, Butthole Surfers I always thought was kind of a funny name. But what about the name of a song? The funniest name of a song.
Oh, 100% for me, just because like I love like to watch. There's a video of Cannibal Corpse playing I Come Blood, and like there's two security guards like that are in the front, and like that you can tell they have no idea like what this band is about. So the guy comes on and he's like, this is the song about shooting blood from your cock, and the security guards are just like, what?
That's
So they're
great.
just looking around like, what the fuck?
Oh man.
But yeah, that's one of my favorite.
What about you,
titles.
Matt? You got one?
like the funniest name for a song?
Or just craziest name for a song?
Steven Seagal's "Talk to My Ass." That's the real song. He's called "Talk to My Ass." I
That's
went,
funny.
and then he had another song called "Alligator Ass," and just the whole Seagal.
Seagal likes ass, I guess.
But
ideas.
also, isn't there a band? I may be wrong about this. Isn't there a death metal band called like Infant Annihilator or something like that?
Oh my
I
god!
swear to God, I think there is.
There should be.
Hold on. Yeah, there is. It's a deathcore band from England.
Oh
Oh,
man!
Jesus
That's
Christ.
so funny.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a song. I can't think of one. Oh wait, you know what? I just thought of a song. It's not as crazy as some of the other ones you guys mentioned, but it's Rob Zombie's song, "Teenage Nosferatu Pussy." When I saw that, I was like, "That's a
Jesus.
song!" Like, but apparently it is. So it's shout out to Rob Zombie.
I can't put that up, but look at the last comment.
Let's see.
Oh yeah!
That's a classic.
Oh, man.
That's one that's on the radio all the time around here. Jesus. Yeah, Cattle Decapitation is actually a fairly well-known death metal band, sadly. Yep. That's another good one. I can't put any of this stuff up, by the way, for this chat, but like...
That's probably a good idea.
And thank you, Matthew. Yeah, thank you once again. Well, I mean, if the Cubs kill their 14-foot crocs, there'll be another death metal band they'll name themselves after. I don't know what it'd be.
Shit.
There'll be
That'd
a
be
death metal band somewhere in that.
Yeah, there should be a death metal band called, what was it, the Tigress of fucking... That'd be
Hamanoptera
great.
or something.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I never got into death metal, but I will say they're hilarious in terms of like some of the names of the bands and the songs. Yeah, so that Ice Nine Kills band is the big one right now that apparently like fucking does the same style. They're into horror films and stuff like that, and they put that in their songs. I just look at those fuckers and I can't. I just, they may be the greatest band of all time, but they make me want to like smash my face. So I can't get into that style. They look like Skrillex. You remember those fuckers?
Yeah.
No. But yeah,
Infinite Annihilation.
I
What was
feel
it?
Infinite Annihilator, I think, or Infinite Annihilation, Infinite Annihilator.
Serial killers and
We've really like been through a lot in this show. We've gone on a fucking journey. It started with movie companies, went into serial killers, ended with death metal. It's like, but that's probably should be it since it's 2.5 hours in. But Matt, what kind of shit are people making you watch?
well, coming up next will be Uber Seed, which I did
Goddamn.
mention. Have you ever seen that film?
Unfortunately, yeah, we reviewed it back in the day. We got sent that fucking film.
Yeah, it was him trying to do a serial killer. I'm sure he wanted a franchise. Thankfully, it did not happen. Other films, It's Pat, which I don't know why that sketch on Saturday Night Live would ever become. Why even make that into a film? Is it a man or woman? I don't give a crap. I don't get. Who cares? No one cares. Quick, like someone's telling me about this. They're doing a movie on the first episode of Saturday Night Live called Saturday Night. So it's like people portraying like Chevy Chase and Belushi and how much of a hectic night it was. Looked kind of interesting. It's called Saturday Night, so that could be curious. Other films I'm doing request wise, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. And no, it's not like the Death Metal version. This is a much kinder Disney version. Darkness of Man with Sally was a really awful Jean-Claude Van Damme film. And I like Van Damme, but dude, it's too late. He's doing the best he can, but some of these action guys, they just need to just go up. You've had your time. It's all right. And then, films like Nightmare Beach, which was fun. What everything you guys said in your review was absolutely right, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, motorcycle that's also electric chair, unique. And more to come. So, how about you, Mark?
I'm currently editing the con footage, so I'll have that up. That'll probably be my next video. After that, probably back to more collection stuff, and then possibly a commentary with me and you. I don't know if Predminator's still in here. He wanted.
Yeah, you mentioned we'll be watching Alien versus Predator.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Sorry. And why would you guys do this? Like,
it's a request. It'll be
okay.
Because he requested like all the other Alien films. He's a bit of Alien franchise fan, but even he knows some of them are bad. So I guess we did Alien 3, we did Alien Resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
I guess AVP will be next, which it's a pretty awful film, even as an Alien fan.
I was thinking, I mean, I'm not sure which film I would least like to watch, but Alien versus Predator is high up there.
Did you guys you didn't review that back on the show, did you? I guess that wouldn't be in your wheelhouse.
I can't remember if we did or not, honestly. I know I've seen that movie, and I don't know why I would have seen it unless it was for the show, but like,
yeah,
it's possible. There could be an Alien versus Predator review out there somewhere.
Well, I guess that's 2004, so you guys had not done the show yet. But yeah, that may be coming up sometime soon. But yeah,
I'm sorry for your losses. You have to watch that fucking movie.
That's. I mean, I know we're going too long, so I'll be quick. That's such an awful film because I know it could be a dumb, fun idea. Alien predators fighting. So what does Paul Wild Stallion Anderson do? Let's have a slow build where nothing happens except a guy finds a Coke bottle at the pyramids or wherever he was, and let's have Lance Henriksen doing his thing. Just all of a sudden now he's a human version of he's Wayland, and we go to the Arctic, even though predators hunt with heat. I thought like heat and conflict. So let's go to the Arctic because that's where heat and conflict are at, and a bunch of CGI, and I don't know what the hell he was thinking. Like if it was a bit dumb fun action movie, I probably could have gotten some fun, and he didn't even do that. Like let's make a really boring version of this and make it PG-13 and make the predators look like fat asses. Like they just
They are very, very stocky, I'll say.
and what pissed me off is I for some reason I saw the behind the scenes and he's like, oh, well, the Predator films in the past, they look like people in suits or something. So I had to make them this way. That shows how stupid he is.
They look
So,
more like people in suits in
I-
the AVP movie.
I know, but that's Paul Wild Stallion Anderson. Anyway, enough about that.
Fat asses. They cut like a Scott Steiner promo on the fucking.
He's fat. But what do you guys have coming up? I know you're doing the Blood Frenzy and
Yeah, next, I guess
Prey.
the next thing that we got coming up would be that on Sunday at 10, which is the Prey, and like you said, Blood Friend. I've yet to watch either one of those movies. I'll probably have to watch them tomorrow. From what I can understand, Blood Frenzy is incredibly cheap, and the Prey is like an incredibly interesting, fun, and stupid, kind of like Friday the 13th ripoff. So we'll see. We will see. And then we're also probably going to be talking on that show about what the season finale of the Summer Slashback series is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
And it's we already know what it's going to be, and trust me, you want to tune in for that. So
the last big question: do you think you'll see Borderlands since it's Eli Roth, or you don't wait for maybe it comes to streaming? Because it probably won't take long. Because it's not going to be in theaters long.
I was going to say, yeah, I will probably watch it completely legally on a streaming service that I have, and go from that. Yeah, I don't think I'll go to the movies to see that fucking thing.
Speaking of going to the movies, when is the next Dead Pit on the Road? Is there anything coming out
Is that? I don't think so.
before the end of the year that you guys would go see? Maybe Terrifier 3 or
Alien Romulus.
Yeah. Fuck.
Romulus.
I don't think I'd walk across the road to see that movie. So,
But
probably
Terrifier 3?
Terrifier 3 would probably be the closest thing to getting us to go to the movies. Like I'm still amazed we didn't go see Maxine. Like I know there was a couple different like efforts to do that, but I mean we just didn't push it that much.
So it was playing around you?
It was, yeah, up the Riverfield for a brief period of time.
So I saw some people saying like they didn't get it in their area, but I'm like, I thought that was a big wide release. I guess not.
So it would have to be Terrifier to get us to probably go to the movie. And I'm fucking concerned about Terrifier 3, to be honest. Like it just in terms of like, I don't know if concern's the right word. I wonder how far he'll take that movie is what I'm thinking.
I'm surprised at the cast that he's got some, how should I say? I don't know if I call them bigger name, but more well-known actors like Jason Patrick's in there.
Yeah.
I saw Daniel Roebuck, who is always pretty cool to see and stuff, and a few others. So we'll see how it turns out.
Well, to be fair, was Jason Patrick done since Speed 2 Cruise Control?
Last thing,
maybe Narc.
Yeah, I was gonna say Narc. In the late 2000s, I did see him like on Entourage, and I saw him in something else after that.
Not a whole.
I can't remember what. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a Jason Patrick mega fan, so it's not like I follow his career like that anyway.
Real quick, last super chat here. I don't care what anyone says. Tigers are the real kings of the jungle, not lions. By the way, don't even really live in the jungle, but the savannah. There you go.
They're the Tiger team.
The more you know.
Tiger King.
Yeah, if anybody wants to watch Blood Frenzy though, it is on YouTube. And I don't know where the fuck the Prey is at. I'm sure it's on YouTube or Tubi or one of those channels.
Yeah, Blood Frenzy is really bad, but I kind of enjoyed it at Don't Go in the Woods way. But maybe I was just being very lenient that day. It's very cheap looking, but it's really bad. But I enjoy it in the bad way, but I don't know if you guys would feel that way. I know CK was it. He's like,
Does it have an official release of any kind?
Not that I know of.
Okay. I wondered
No.
like if it even had like a DVD because I've never seen it like anywhere, you know.
No, I was
It'd be-
thinking like maybe it had like a UK like Region 2 release, but I don't think so. I think I'm thinking of another slasher from around that time.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but I did laugh a lot for some reason.
I have seen it heavily bootlegged over the years, though. Various places, cons
So-
and stuff.
I didn't realize this, but apparently fucking Lisa Loring's in that
Yeah,
from the Addams Family.
yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. But yeah, so check that out on Sunday. Mark, hurry up and get your shit edited together. Like people want to see this stuff, and you're over there fucking around. Come on.
I'll get it done.
And y'all that are fucking with Matt, stop making him watch all this shit. You think he wants to watch It's Pat? Nobody wants to watch It's Pat. Nobody even wanted to watch It's Pat back in 1992 or whenever that fucking movie was made.
It's bad.
So anyway, check us out at all the 5,000 different things that we have. Appreciate everybody for coming in tonight and for last night too, and you guys as well. And until the next time.
And if
go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, if anybody's still going to be up, I think Garrett's still streaming over on his channel. Born to Be
Oh hell,
Rad.
is he even streaming right now?
He is, yeah. So go check him out over there.
Migrate over there.
Yeah.
Yep. See
Tell
y'all.
him we sent you.
I'd like to tell people thumbs up the video, Uncle Bill.
Would you?
Yes. Thumbs it up with violence and fury and just love everything about it, right, Uncle Bill?
Yeah. You hit the heart button, then you hit the ass button, then you hit the go fuck yourself button. Follow that up with the I don't give a shit button.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit radio shirts. You can get Last South on the Left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Special thanks goes out to our supporters on Patreon. Do you know what kind of stuff you can get on Patreon, Uncle Bill, starting at only $1 a month?
What's that?
Access to every Dead Pit show since 2005. We got almost 200 fan commentaries that we've done over the decades.
We have a literal jukebox full of songs and thousands of reviews. I don't even know how many shows are up on there now that we've done over the years.
Hundreds of thousands.
You need to figure this out now and subscribe to us on Patreon and YouTube and Instagram and help us to 1 million. The road to 1 million subscribers